the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the METS Mets of New York town. Oh, the butcher and the baker and the people on the streets, where do they go? To meet the Mets! Oh, they're hollering and cheering and they're jumping in their seats. Where do they go? To meet the Mets! All the fans are true to the orange and blue, so hurry up and come on down, 'cause we got ourselves a ball club, the Mets of New York town. Give 'em a yell! Give 'em a hand! And let 'em know you're rooting in the stand. Come on and meet the Mets. Meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the METS Mets of New York town, of New York town. Meet the Mets, meet the Mets.
Fans, welcome back to Talking Mets It Rob with another live stream during a Mets game. How is everybody doing today on this Friday night, Blackout Friday at Citfield? Welcome to the second half of New York Mets baseball. Thought I'd change it up a little bit and put a little Meet the Mets song out there for all of our Mets fans watching today and hanging out with me today. Just give me 1 second. There we go. All right, guys. So, welcome to Mets pregame live right here on the channel. We got about 20 minutes or so until game time. As you all might know, the game is on Apple TV today. So, yes, you will get the audio, but there is some good news about Apple TV. Wayne Randazzo, we know him pretty well from the radio broadcasts for the past couple of years with the New York Mets, is calling the game for Apple TV. So, you'll get a familiar voice with Apple TV and for our New York Mets. So we will have a little bit of a good call on our hands because Wayne Randazzo is very good. So with that said, guys, don't forget to please hit on that like button. And if you're a new subscriber of the channel, please let me know where you're from. I always like to know where people are watching or listening from on the channel. And if you're not a Mets fan, that's okay. Just let me know what team you root for and just hang out with us and watch some baseball. So the second half starts today for everybody in Major League Baseball. Of course, for our New York Mets, they have a long road ahead. They have to play basically out of their mind baseball and hope they get a little bit of luck involved as well to make things happen and possibly make a run for a wild card spot, particularly the third wild card spot. And again, I said this yesterday on my live stream yesterday. The New York Mets, when you compare them to other teams that are in front of them, the Cubs, the Padres, the Brewers, the Phillies, the Giants, right? Every one of those teams, if you match them up against the Mets and everybody's healthy, everybody plays to the back of the baseball cards, you would assume that the Mets are right there with every one of those teams. I think everybody can agree with that. No matter what you might think of this team, if everybody plays to close or near the back of their baseball cards on every team that's in front of the Mets right now, from the Giants all the way down until where the Mets are. I said this yesterday, right? It's not a guarantee, but I can easily say that you can compare them basically onto the same level, and maybe one team might be a little bit better. But again, we played the Padres. Look at the game that they played against us, right? The Mets actually had a chance, right? The Padres couldn't hit David Peterson. Let me repeat that. The San Diego Padres could not hit David Peterson, right? He gave up a couple of runs, right? But for considering what David Peterson has been this year, that's an accomplishment. They couldn't score much against David Peterson, right? Machado was the only offense for the Padres on Sunday. And we know what happened in the first game of the series. The Mets won that one. And again, this is not building positivity towards the New York Mets because they don't deserve none of it. They have to earn it from us. And that I understand. But this is what I want to talk about when it comes to the New York Mets, right? Right, it was about 8 games before the All-Star break. What did we say, right? Everything, if you look at the teams that, like the Giants, the Phillies, the Reds, even though they're in the division right now, the Brewers, let me know how many teams had more than a good 2-week stretch during this season that are in front of the Mets. Not many, right? All of them, the Phillies included, they went through a 2-week stretch where they had a really good bunch of games, and the Mets could have put a damper in that if they actually played decent baseball in June. They would have actually beat the Phillies in that series, even when the Mets were playing absolutely garbage. So, listen, this is not positive moments for the Mets or saying this could happen, but you saw what happened in a 8-game stretch. Not even say 6-game stretch, but when they went on a 6-game winning streak, they passed 3 teams and gained almost 4 games in that for that last wild card spot. So, a week can change everything in baseball, right? You got a couple of teams that are in front of the Mets that are playing each other, so somebody's going to lose. So you're going to gain ground on them if you win ball games. Not only are you playing one of the teams that have the second wild card spot, even though the Dodgers and Arizona Diamondbacks are going back and forth, but technically what you want to do, you want to make sure you gain games on those teams that possibly could have a second wild card too. Yes, that's a little bit steeper than the Giants that are 7 games in front of the Mets. But you know what? 2 or 3, you take 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers, you gain a couple of games on them as well. And again, teams in front of you are playing each other. So guess what? You're going to gain games on those guys as well. So in a matter of 3 days, 3 games, you can move closer to a few teams. One you're playing, and the other 2 teams are playing each other. So if they beat each other up, and even if somebody sweeps somebody, you gain games. And that's why when people are talking about, oh, things are over, you know what? I guarantee you Padres fans were talking about the same thing prior to the Mets series. The same thing with the Brewers, who can't hit a lick, but they can pitch very well, right? The Giants, they're good, but the Mets just beat the Giants 2 out of 3. So these are teams that are not world beaters here. Again, the same way the Mets might have to go 45-27 to get the 87 wins, the other teams there basically have to play 5 games over 500, maybe even 6 games over 500 to get to that mark as well, when the Mets have to go pretty high into the 17, 18 games over 500, which is a lot harder to do. But it's not like the Giants, the Brewers, the Phillies are 9, 10, 11, 12 games over 500. They're playing 7, 8 games over 500. Not much better than what they have to do to get the 87 wins. If they falter a little bit, well, now they have to catch up in games to get back to that 87 mark. And explosive, no, they don't. They don't have to sweep. This is what people, when I talk about greedy, is a problem with a lot of baseball fans. I heard the Yankee fans saying the same thing against the Colorado Rockies, right? Because Yankee fans are panicking now because of the fact that they're actually out of a playoff spot. And, all of a sudden, the Yankee fans are believing, and Met fans, I heard too, are saying this, right? I heard Mets fans saying, oh, look what the Yankees fired their hitting coach. Okay, so they're going to Colorado for 3 games. They're going to Colorado for 3 games. I guarantee you the Yankees are going to score about 50 runs in those 3 games. Right? So all of a sudden, everybody's going to be like, oh, it must have been Sean Casey. Look at him, new hitting coach. And Met fans are going to be, see that, look, the Yankees did it, and look what happened to them. But yet nobody will talk about they actually played in Colorado where little leaguers can hit the ball over the fence. So the fact of the matter is, when it comes to our New York Mets, is the fact that you don't have to, it would be nice to sweep the series. Of course you want to sweep the series. But again, if you look at the last 72 games of the season, if you take 8 out of every 8, I would say like 6 out of every 8 series. Now remember, there's a couple of 4-game series in there. So if you go 3 out of 4, that's not bad either, right? This is also, you take a couple of 2 out of 3. And again, it's important if you take 2 out of 3 against teams that are in front of you. And remember, there's teams that are playing each other that are in front of you. So if you win ball games, you're not only gaining games on the team you're facing, you're gaining games on the teams that are losing that are facing each other. That's what people don't talk about. That's when people are like, oh, they got to jump over a lot of teams. The Mets in a 5-day span jumped over 3 teams during that 6-game winning streak. It happens quickly. And again, let me know which team, the Giants, the Brewers, the Phillies, the Cubs, the Padres, all the teams that are in front of the Mets from that third wild card spot down. Let me know how they did more than a 2-week stretch. Because if they didn't have those good 2-week stretch, they would be exactly where the Mets are. So all you need to do is say if in a 2-week stretch they played 12 games, right? If you go 8-4, you're right back in there. That's what all these teams did. Let's not act like the Phillies, the Brewers, the Giants had a month of really good baseball, because if the Mets had a 500 June, they would be right where the Phillies are. Because right when June started, they were 3 games out of a division, and they were the third wildcard team a game ahead. So if they would have played 500 baseball, they would be right where the Giants are and the Phillies are right now. Because of that bad June, they ended up being where they are now. 7 games back, 6 games under 500. So again, we don't need to sweep. Would we want to sweep? Hell yeah. And listen, I do believe we have the pitching matchups. Like, I know people are going to say, oh, Scherzer's terrible, Verlander's this. Let me ask you something. For everybody who wants Julio Urias, right? Everybody was talking about that. Oh, trade Scherzer, trade Verlander, and let's sign Snell and Urias. Urias has a 4.5 ERA, right? The guy that nobody wants in Justin Verlander has a 3.6 ERA. Again, it's not Cy Young Verlander, but a 3.6 ERA compared to where he was, which he was near a 5 ERA, is a huge jump. That's how well he's pitched over the month. And that's what people just don't understand. And people just want to look at it like, oh, he's not going 8 innings every day and giving up 1 runs. Like, yes, that's what you're paying him for. But again, I was not expecting Verlander to be Cy Young Verlander. If you thought that, you are not paying attention to what baseball is really about and how it actually works, right? If Verlander pitches the rest of the season and he has a low 3 ERA, or closer to a regular 3 ERA, considering that he almost had a little over a 5 ERA, I'll take that every day of the week, because that means he pitched extremely well the rest of the season to get to that point. And that's the same thing goes with Max Scherzer. Now, Max Scherzer, the problem with him is that he continues to give up the home run ball, and every big game seems like he doesn't do well. Yet, in the last 10 games, the Mets are 8-2. I just don't understand that. It's a weird way to look at the numbers, but the Mets are winning when he pitches. No matter if he gives up leads or not, the Mets are finding ways to win. And the reason why I think that's the case, and I haven't really dove deep into the numbers, is because Scherzer's going 6 innings at least, and you're getting the better arms in your bullpen into the game to give your team a chance to come back. And again, in the last 10 starts for Scherzer, they're 8-2. And that's not credit to Scherzer, because most of those games he gave up leads, but what he did do was give them length, which at some, if he's not pitching well, at least give you length, so give your team a chance, which he does to put in the better bullpen arms like O'Reilly, like Robinson, like Ottavino, instead of the Jeff Brighams of the world. So that's the important part of the Max Scherzer starts, even though the numbers don't look great. The fact of the matter is, if he goes 6 innings, he gives the Mets a chance to win, even though I want 6 innings of 0 runs. But if he happens to give 6 innings or 7 innings of 3-4 run ball, not exactly what I want from Max Scherzer, but the fact of the matter is, he's bringing in he's going to lead up to he's going to let the better arms in the bullpen come in, which will probably hold the other team to those many runs that he already gave up, and they're not going to, add on to their lead or add on to that number during the game. And that's where the Mets are at the moment. And again, the numbers don't lie. 8-2 in the last 10 starts from Max Scherzer is because he's actually going 6 innings or more, which is giving the bullpen a chance to keep whatever runs the opponent has at what they have instead of adding on to their lead, and gives the Mets offense the chance to come back in ball games. So that just shows you, even though the Scherzer in those 10 starts have gave up a couple of leads and actually came out of the games at sometimes giving up the lead, is showing you that the Mets offense finds ways to come back when their bullpen holds the number to where it is. So that is also important to look at as well. And they're showing Justin Verlander 0.84 ERA in his last 5 starts at Citi Field, 3 earned runs in 32 innings pitched. And I wanted to make something clear. Everybody had 4 days off for the All-Star break. Scherzer, Kodai Senga, Verlander. Don't think it's not telling that Verlander got the first start out of the break. He's been pitching really well. He's been pitching better than Verlander. And now you got Kodai Senga Saturday, where he's pitched very well at home, and he's on a long rest period, which is very good usually in his case. And then he got Scherzer on Sunday. So the Mets are set up with Verlander and Senga, I think, is their 2 best options to win, and it gives you an opportunity to win today, and it gives you an opportunity to win the series. That's why it's so important to have Justin Verlander, the Mets win today. Because if you win today, I'm not breaking news here, you have 2 chances to win a series, right? This is not, I'm not telling you anything you guys don't know. You're smart enough than that. So, and yes, Joe, it is on Apple TV. Quintana is back on Wednesday. He'll be back in the White Sox series at home at Citi Field. Yeah, Barry, hey, how you doing, buddy? I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, exactly. But again, I just gave it to you. His last couple of home starts, he has under a 1 ERA and only given up 3 runs in 32 innings. So if you do the math in the last, 5 starts, you can see he's been going at least 6-7 innings in each of those starts at home. So he's pitched well at home. And the Mets are facing Urias. Yes, he's usually pretty good, but he also has a 4.5 ERA. So that's not even good. Let's see. Future Hall of Fame, reigning defender American. Yeah, I agree. Again, he hasn't pitched to that level, but I never expected him to pitch to that level. And I even said it, if you go back to once we signed Verlander, I said this. If you give me a low 3 ERA, or even hovering around a very low 3 ERA, maybe even hovering around the 2.9, 2.5 ERA, around the 2.9 to a 3.10 ERA, I take that from Scherzer, especially when he has a 3.6 ERA, which is not exactly what I want, but not even 2 months ago, he had nearly a 5.5 ERA. So we got that ERA down a full 1.5 over a month and a half. That's a big deal. That shows that he's pitched really well. Yeah, I know. I heard about the neck spasms. Again, listen, DeGrom had that every other week, right? We always heard about neck spasms from DeGrom too. Again, he got a couple of days to figure it out. If not, you can just, everybody got extra days off, so you can always fill in if you don't want Scherzer playing. And you also got that built-in Monday off as well, right? You got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to play the White Sox. So it's not the end of the world. Yes, Quintana has been activated. TJ McFarland is the one that is DFA'd. So the Mets are facing the Dodgers. You got Julio Urias against Justin Verlander tonight. Yeah, I know. And the Phils are losing. They're playing the Padres, right? And this is what I was just talking about earlier on in the show, in the pregame, is the fact that the Phillies are facing the Padres, right? The Padres are right in front of the Mets, right? If the Mets win, it's not really affecting them that the Padres are winning. What you want them to do is beat up on the Phillies because you're gaining games on them. And then you still got 7 games against the Phillies where you can take advantage of that situation. So one team that's in front of you in the Phillies that are 6.5 in front of you, they lose 2 out of 3 against the Padres. Well, and the Mets win 2 out of 3. Well, you're creeping up with the Padres, and the Phillies lose ground on 2 teams, and the Mets still have 7 games against them. So that's a good sign for them. And on top of that, who knows what the Giants will be doing, right? The Giants are playing – where are the Giants? The Giants are playing the Pirates, so you want the Pirates to beat them. And the Pirates, they fell down to earth, but they're actually a decent team that can win some ball games against you. And again, they're showing ERAs. 4.76 ERA for Julio Urias and Justin Verlander 3.76. Justin Verlander pitched more innings than Urias, and Justin Verlander missed a month. So that just shows you that Urias hasn't been good. We know he can be good. He got some nasty pitches, that nasty slider, nasty curveball as a lefty, and the Mets have problems against lefties, but we shall see. Well, Mika, I agree with you. I agree. We have to worry about the Mets, but it's also beneficial that the Mets are facing the Dodgers, who right now are leading the West, but they're going back and forth with the Diamondbacks. So you're gaining games on whatever team, specifically the Dodgers, and also whoever takes 2 out of 3 or might get swept, you're gaining games on either the Padres or the Phillies and you actually want the Padres to beat the Phillies. And the reason why is because the Padres are right in front of you by a game. So it's not like they are, you want to creep up with the Padres because you don't play them anymore. You do face the Phillies 7 more times this year, and you get closer to the Phillies, and that's something that can be very important because it comes down to tiebreakers as well. And then you don't play the Giants anymore. But, with the Giants got to be facing the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks a little bit more, they're not going to have an easy road to getting at their wild card spot. So who are you afraid of? The Brewers? Like that's basically where the Mets are right now. So if you go back and forth, if you keep on creeping up with the Padres, and also the Padres have to worry about the Giants and the Padres that are going to be facing each other as well. So you got a lot of teams in the West that are going to be facing each other a couple more times that are going to hurt each other. So they're either going to lose ground, most likely, because they're facing a lot of teams in the West. There's 4 teams in the West that are 3 of them are basically 4 of them are all vying for a playoff spot. So they're going to be fighting each other and beating each other up, which is beneficial to the Mets, what people are not talking about when people are like, oh, look at all the teams in front of the Mets. Well, the Dodgers, the Diamondbacks, the Giants, and the Padres are all in the same division. They play each other a decent amount of times still, at least 6 more times apiece. So they will beat each other up, which benefits the Mets. And the team in the Phillies that are in the same division, they play them 7 more times. So the only team you got to worry about is the Brewers, and hopefully they don't go on a special run during this stretch, because that's the only team the Mets don't face anymore. That the Mets don't face a lot now. And then the Central for the Brewers is a lot easier to win their game. So that's what you worry about there. But again, the Mets have to worry about themselves. I think if they go 45-27, get them to 87 wins, I think that's going to get a third wild card spot, because I don't think that the Giants, the Phillies are going to play 9, 10 games over 500, maybe even 11 games over 500 during the next 72 games to get to that 87, 88 win total. That's just me. But still, the Mets have a lot of work to do, and it's pointless if the Mets don't at least get to 87 wins. So we're about a few minutes out. It is Apple TV tonight, so hang on. Have a conversation. Enjoy the game. Yeah, about right. Yeah, Machado's been National League Player of the Week. That's fine. But again, everybody was like, oh, look at the Padres. They're surging. The Padres played terrible against the Mets if you didn't pay attention, right? Darvish is not the same pitcher. The Mets couldn't hit Snell, yet in the ninth inning, they had a chance of winning, tying the ball game, or tying the ball game in the ninth inning. So let's not act like the Mets actually played terrible in that series and didn't have a chance of winning that series. They were a few feet away of a tie ball game in the second game. And if it wasn't for Manny Machado, the Padres did absolutely nothing against Max Scherzer. So that's when people like to just look at the end result of the game and not actually pay attention to each individual game and what happened in that game. I see it this way, the Mets or any other team that has a chance to win or tie a ball game or have a chance to win a ball game in late in games, I don't think that's a bad ball game for a team. If you have a chance to win, that means somebody did something right. And most of the time, it's usually the pitchers. So in that Padres series, the pitchers pitched well, right? Scherzer couldn't get Machado out, and it cost them the game. But the offense also didn't help the case either, right? They could have scored a couple of runs. They had chances, and they didn't. So against Musgrove, right? He put a ton of men on base. The Mets didn't capitalize on his mistakes. He was hitting, 4 batters? He had bases loaded twice. He had many guys on base. I think the Mets left 10 guys on base during that game. They didn't get none in. That was the problem there, too. So, other than Manny Machado, what did he give up? 3 more hits? 4 more hits? So it's not like Scherzer got beat around the ballpark here for everybody who just wants to destroy Scherzer. And again, Scherzer is not Scherzer of the first half last year, but let's not act like Scherzer has been playing bad. And I gave you the stat. The Mets are 8-2 in Scherzer's last 10 starts. That is a big deal because that means Scherzer at the very least is giving you length and a chance for the bullpen to hold whatever runs Scherzer already gave up. They've been holding that number for the most part intact to give the offense a chance to come back in a ball game. That's what is important at this moment because the Mets are like 22, 23 games over 500. It's like a weird number, like 24 and like 7 or 8 when a starter goes 6 innings or more. That just shows you that the best arms in your bullpen are holding the leads and winning the ballgame for the Mets. The Mets are walking out on the field with their black uniforms. It is Blackout Friday at Citfield, of course. So that's why I'm in all black tonight with the Flushing Faithful shirt from the subline, and of course the Shea hat, which is always a crowd pleaser, and of course Shay, my cat Shay, he's probably sleeping right now. But Mets Dodgers game 1, Mets got an opportunity here. They got to take care of their own business, and then they worry about everybody else. Let's see if they can do that. So once again, guys, don't forget to please hit on that like button. The game is on Apple TV. I am going to switch over to game day so you get the visual as well, and of course you'll get the audio with Wayne Randazzo on the call. So here we go, guys. Give me a second. There we go. Everything is up and running. Let me just there we go. All righty, guys. So first pitch is about to start. Let me know in the comments if you can hear the audio. I'm going to put it up right now.
Statcast powered by Google Cloud as we see the Arsenal still likes those high fastballs.
He likes to throw that 4-seamer up in the zone. Really, his bread and butter. He needs that slider. He'll throw it about 30% of the time. His curveball's a good one.
All right, guys. First pitch. Betts is coming up to the plate.
Primarily the lefties.
Mookie Betts has been outstanding throughout the year, especially the leadoff games. He has hit 10 leadoff home runs already this year. Verlander's first pitch is a fastball to spot off the zone. So we are underway at Citfield. Pops this one up. Brandon Nimmo, the center fielder for the Mets.
Perfect. So if you're looking at the Citfield outfield and wonder why it's in shitty shape, is because they had a concert during the All-Star break, and it kind of had a couple of bare spots in the outfield.
Francisco Alvarez behind the plate. The 40-year-old pitcher throwing to the 21-year-old catcher for the Mets tonight.
Yeah, really, when you talk to people around the Mets, we had a chance this afternoon to talk to Bucky Showalter and other veteran pitchers, just raved about throwing to Alvarez, that he takes a lot of pride in what he does. Bucky Schulter was telling you and I both that he really wants to be good. He's put the effort in. He wants to be a good game caller. He's hit some big home runs the last couple of weeks.
Come on, JV.
And that's like what they have behind the plate right now.
Freddie Freeman at the plate for the Dodgers. Verlander misses with that. Freeman nearly won the batting title last season. He lost it to the Mets' second baseman, Jeff McNeil, beat out Freeman to win the batting championship last year on the season's final day. Freddie right back to it this year, hitting .320.
What I want to see from Verlander in the first inning, control. He's had trouble lately of walking batters early in the game, specifically the first inning.
3 or 4 times in a given game.
Well, one of the reasons why his approach is to hit the ball the other way, to hit to left center field.
Missing a little bit high right now.
On getting your A swing off and exit velo and hard hit rate. He likes to spray the ball around. He's kind of a version of the Mets Jeff McNeil with a lot more power. Sprays at the all parts of the ballpark.
He's at 17 home runs this year. We always see Freeman in the league leaders in doubles. Big swing on that 3-1 fastball from Verlander. Makes it 3-2. Freeman has 31 doubles so far this year.
Yeah, that's a pretty good pitch there by Verlander. I tell you early on what kind of fastball he has. Freeman sitting in a fastball count with some leverage, 3-1, got that four-seamer. Wasn't able to pull the trigger on it.
31 two-base hits for Freeman, lead the national inning. It's 3-2 coming from Verlander.
Just outside. Just a good eye for Freeman.
Great umpire right there. Tony Randazzo is the home plate umpire there.
So Wayne Randazzo is calling the game, and Tony Randazzo, the brother, is umpiring behind the plate.
He's 20 years older than me, so I didn't know that. And he is the home plate umpire tonight. Todd Tishner is at third base. There's Alex Josie, the first base umpire. There's crew chief Tishner at third, but Tony Randazzo behind the plate saying ball four. So if he said it, it's the truth. Here's Will Smith.
What's that? Let me ask you this. If he has a bad night behind the dish, will you send him a text saying, hey, come on, let's go, man?
I don't think that's possible, that he could have a bad night behind the plate. I'd be very surprised. There's cousin Tony. As Will Smith stands in. See? Clearly a swing.
Right.
Ball one strike.
Yes, he did.
Will Smith, an all-star, the top 3 hitters in this Dodger order are at the all-star game. The number 5 batter, Martinez, as well.
All right. So Verlander got that high fastball working, getting a couple of guys to chase that, and that's an important pitch for him. A little bit over the letters is a nasty pitch, and Will Smith swung right under it. Come on. Let's go, JV.
So much easier now to steal bases. You really need a catcher that can throw.
There have been a lot of stolen bases allowed by Alvarez this year.
Ooh, strike 3 on the curveball. 2 outs. Nice pitch. That was a nasty curveball. That ball started above his head and ended up right in the middle of the strike zone. Well, he's got location today, guys. That is a nasty pitch. Whew. You can tell he froze as soon as that ball was thrown. Nice pitch. 2 outs.
Brings up Max Muncy, who's at 21 homers this year, but just a 198 average for Muncy.
Gotta be careful with Muncy here. Average is not good, but he has the power. Very weird. He's batting what, 200? He's batting 198 with 21 home runs. That's insane.
Center field to left center.
Nice hit. Oh, where was that? Ooh, that was a strike. Oh, didn't get that call. Oh, that was a strike. That was a perfect pitch.
Alvarez trying to do a good job presenting that pitch to being a strike.
Cousin Tony not impressed. 2 balls, 1 strike on Muncy. Verlander's allowed a base runner with Freddie Freeman drawing a walk. Muncy will draw his walks too. He's always up there in the league leaders in that category. Chasing Juan Soto, Muncy has walked a whole bunch this season, 46 times. That's why his OPS, despite the 198 average, .807 OPS. His on-base percentage is .331. He gets on base even if he's not getting base hits.
Yeah, the surprising thing this year is it always seemed like in
Joe,
the last few years it would be
I watch reruns anyway. You know how many times I watch Ozark, Sons of Anarchy, Breaking Bad? Ooh, nice curveball. That curveball is looking sharp tonight. 2-2. Yeah, President, it's delayed, but what are you going to do, right? Game day's a little bit ahead of Apple TV. Well, explosive. He's kind of having like a Pete Alonso season this year, huh?
Interesting next couple of weeks for the Dodgers, too. Clayton Kershaw looks like he's going to miss some time coming out after the All-Star break. Dodgers really, for the first time in several years, in the market really the need for some starting pitching. They've had to run a lot of rookie starting pitchers out. They're getting Urias back. This will be his third start back tonight off the IL.
All right, so I like that fastball he's throwing. Already throwing 95, 96 with that fastball. Yeah, if you watch the Yankee game on Amazon Prime on Fridays, it is also delayed as well.
Because the opponent's ERA is 5.23, the Dodgers are still bludgeoning their opponents. They've been able to get a lot of victories thanks to their offense. 2-2 on Muncy.
Ball 3.
Misses with the curves. Now 3-2.
And obviously, game day is ahead. 19 pitches for Verlander. Again, I don't worry about the pitch count for Verlander because he can easily go over 100 pitches, well over 100 pitches, especially with the rest he has. Ooh. That was another nice curveball, but just missed. 2 outs, 2 on.
Now the Dodgers at 2 on with J.D. Martinez coming up. That is an area where the Dodgers almost never struggle.
And the dangerous J.D. Martinez is up.
Maybe they have a deal at the trade deadline in the next couple of weeks that will.
Joe, what do we all?
Certainly, they probably need it to make a long.
I think I can work on his contract for Costco.
They've been able to maintain.
I agree, right wing. Well, at least Apple tried to fix it, right? They know how bad they were last year, but they realized it like almost like August that they needed better announcers and people that know the team, and I think that's important.
They've gone through 4 rookies that have been in that starting rotation: Michael Grove, Bobby Miller, Emmett Sheehan, and Gavin Stone. The Dodgers have always been a pitching-rich organization. Usually, when the season starts, they're kind of the envy of everybody in baseball because they just have an abundance. Not only of good pitchers, but they have stacked pitchers down to that minor league system too. And they've kind of run through that reservoir already. I think really they're looking to do something at the All-Star break because I'm not sure they feel comfortable that they can win the West the way this rotation is right now.
Well, they have not been in sole possession of first place since May 31st. They're tied with Arizona. They're the only team that was in first place at the break last year.
So if you're watching the stream right now, you know that Verlander strikes out J.D. Martinez, and he gets out of the inning with 0 runs. So he didn't give up any hits. He gave up 2 walks. Yeah, he threw about, 23, 24 pitches in the first inning. But again, I'm not worried about Justin Verlander. He can easily throw 110 pitches, so I'm not worried about that. So, look, more importantly, he put up a 0 in the first inning, which has been a huge problem for the New York Mets. Yeah, there's like 5 games on Apple TV, actually. There's Pittsburgh and whoever. I think the Phillies and Padres. I think there's 3 games. Joe, I think there's 3. I think I saw the Phillies and Padres, but I could be wrong on that. So we're going to the bottom of the first. No score. Once again, guys, don't forget to please hit on that like button. I know we're going to probably expect about at least 100, maybe more. Always when the Mets are on Apple TV, there's always a nice crowd on the channel, and I always do appreciate that. Once again, guys, just so everybody knows, the Shea Bridge Show and the Mets Roundtable podcast Sunday and Monday will be back again with the holidays and people traveling and stuff like that. They trying to take care of their own content on their channels and platforms. I didn't want to, put too much of a burden on them to help my channel out. I don't think that's fair to their channel. So We're gonna get that back going again. So Sunday, most likely the Sunday game is a day game at 1 o'clock. I don't know if they're going to change that. They still can and make that a primetime Sunday night baseball game. I don't think they will. If they keep it at 1 o'clock, the Shea Bridge show on Sunday will be 8 o'clock. If not, if the game is at 8 o'clock, it will be a 7 o'clock Shea Bridge show leading up to the Mets Dodgers series finale. And Monday, Mets Roundtable. The Mets are off possibly on Monday. I believe they are. I'm sorry. I haven't really looked at the schedule because of the break, but I think they're off on Monday. Yeah, they're off on Monday after the Dodger series, and they're home for 3 against the White Sox. So Monday is an off day, regular time, 8 p.m. for the Mets Roundtable podcast, of course, with as many of the guys that are available to show up on the stream. They always know they're available to pop on. Hopefully we get a full table and we can talk about our Mets, hopefully about a big series against the Dodgers. So here we go. Brendan Nimmo leading off. No score, bottom of the first.
People feel around here he should have been an all-star. Julio Urias has been an all-star in the past, and last year he was the National League's leader in ERA.
A free agent at the end of the year, too, 26 years old. Coming in free agency at the right time. One thing I found interesting, it seems like he's pitched in the big league.
Michael, I'm doing good. Hope you're doing well. Let's get that win, my friend.
Closed out when the Dodgers last won their World Series in Arlington. Hard to believe, though, he's never seen the 8th inning of the start. You would think somewhere
Come on, Brendan.
that there would have been a complete game.
Get some first inning runs here.
Performances, but you pretty much know what you're going to get. He's going to give you a quality 6-7 innings, and then Dave Robbins will turn things over to that bullpen.
Yes, 26 years old, as Dan mentioned, and you get young free agents from having young rookies.
Oh, yeah. Get out. Yeah. Lead off home. Oh, it bounced off the wall. Home run. Yeah. Lead off home run from Brandon Nimmo. All right. That's a good start to the second half. 1-0 Mets. 14 home runs for Brandon Nimmo. There we go. That's a good start, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm talking about. Love it. And again, I hit the top of the wall, so it's supposed to be, it should be a home run. But we shall see. All right, so they're going to check. I don't think it was a home run, but they said it was. We'll see. Okay, so they think it hit something back there. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, Nimmo's on pace for, I think, like 23, 24 home runs. So they're going to be checking. They're checking a home run call. I think it hit the top of the wall. Like the orange line. It should be a double. And I don't think it's going to be a home run, but, you know, they called it a home run. So obviously they got to have 100% proof. Let's see. Yeah, that's not a home run. That's going to be a double.
Pretty clear off the top of that orange line, bounces back into play, which means it is not a home run.
I'm confused, though. What's the point of that orange line if that's not supposed to be a home run? Yeah, it's a double. All right, so no score still. That is a double, so obviously that's a good call by the umpires. I never understood the line on the wall. Like, what's the point if that's not, you know? I'm curious about that. I never understood that. All right, so we got a leadoff double. Let's get that run home anyway. Come on, Tommy. And Urias is having a tough year in the first inning as well, as they just said.
Right before the All-Star break, there was a lot of conversation on if the Mets are going to be buyers or sellers.
VP, as always, my friend.
He's really picked it up the last 3 or 4 weeks. You would assume that there would be some interest in fans at the trade deadline.
Thompson, breaking ball again for a strike. The Mets aren't there yet. They are certainly having to process how these next couple of weeks go. They're 6 games under 500.
Tommy Pham has a 304 average with runners in scoring position this season.
Surge here between now and August 1st to avoid any sort of sell-off by Billy Eppler and the Mets front office.
Yeah, they got off to a good start. July's been pretty good for the Mets. They had 8 games. They're 6-2. They had a miserable month of June. Only the Royals had a worse month than the Mets, so hopefully they can get things going here in July.
7-19 month of June. That sent the Mets back quite a bit in the division race. Certainly no chance to catch Atlanta at 18.5 back, but there's still a glimmer of hope in the multiple colored eyes of Max Scherzer that this team can get into the playoffs.
Come on, Tommy.
With a nice run here to begin the second half.
Good eye.
Buck Showalter talking about, having an ace in your pocket. They really haven't had a chance to see Jose Quintana all season long. He's expected to join the starting rotation soon. And he was a big part of the Mets offseason. They thought having him and along with Verlander and Scherzer, Vernon Senga has been terrific. And they thought Quintana.
Oh. And he said he went around, 1 out.
Yeah, not a lot of argument. Tommy Pham, if you look at it from this first base side, you can clearly see that go across home plate. I think Tommy knew it.
1 out, and here is Francisco Lindor.
All right, Lindor is up. Man on second, 1 out.
Called strike. Lindor is a natural right-handed batter. His cousins and some of his friends growing up were switch hitters, so he begged his dad to let him switch hit, but his dad made him hit right-handed and master that first before he ever let Francisco switch hit. It's worked out well for Lindor. 1 ball, 1 strike on the Mets shortstop. A lot of people felt Lindor should have been an all-star. Ronaldo Perdomo of the Arizona Diamondbacks was a late addition to the all-star team, and you can certainly make the case that Lindor had the better offensive numbers and is certainly a much better defensive player.
Ryan, I don't mind that at all. As long as the Mets win.
A bit peculiar considering it's an all-star game, and Francisco Lindor is one of the stars of this
Beating
game.
down the Phillies means the Phillies come back down to earth, and the Mets face them several more times. So, and all those games are against the Phillies at the end of the year, which could be very important.
Certainly, very familiar face in Lindor.
And a win for the National League for the first time in roughly a decade. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Lindor.
Well, it's raining on basically the entire East Coast. It's been warm, but it hasn't been like terribly hot. Yesterday was hot, but the rain kind of cooled it off a little bit today. Ball 3, good eye.
3 balls and 2 strikes as Riss was ahead.
Trying to run that 4-seam fastball that almost appeared like a little bit of cut action on it. Off of this last start, he was really happy the way his off-speed pitches. This might be time to try to let that splurge.
Lindor able to find it off, and it's still 3-2. Francisco Lindor, the father of 2 now, is Heidi Watney. Has more on Lindor adjusting.
Yes, Francisco Lindor certainly deserving of being an all-star main, as you said, but he said he really enjoyed the quality time with his new baby girl who turns 1 month old tomorrow. He said with the hectic season, he didn't even miss a single game. He hasn't had much of a chance to bond with her, so he really spent the break just holding her and bonding with her. And he's had that dad.
And Lindor takes strike 3 on the outside corner, 2 outs.
Fastball from the Riss. That's back-to-back strikeouts since the leadoff double.
And it's really amazing when you get a break, right? That fly ball off the bat. VENMO to start the game off, and since then it's been
Actually, Ryan, you can. You should watch enough baseball to realize he threw all breaking balls, and then he threw a fastball.
94 miles an hour straight.
When you're expecting a breaking ball, you're going to look like that. JD Martinez just did that. I'm sorry, the other guy just did that against the Dodgers, against the Dodger who batted earlier with Muncy. Sometimes you're looking for a pitch and you get the opposite and you look like that. All right, let's see if he can get a 2-out RBI here. Obviously, he's been struggling this year.
He and Max Muncy are actually at the bottom of the major leagues on batting average and balls in play. Both
Come on,
are
Pete.
200 in that category. For Alonso, it's 186. For Muncy, it's 192. And both would be the lowest for a qualified hitter since 1961.
Amazing part.
Christina, I've heard.
Go that part of your game will get you almost, I don't want to say set back down to AAA, but there's so much more swing and miss in the game right now. But what comes with that swing and miss, if you have the ability to put the ball in the seats like Alonso does, it makes it a lot easier.
Well, Christina, I don't know about that because he's batting 211, and that's kind of on ever since like April. Since May, he hasn't really been hitting well. Like bat to ball ratio, putting the ball in play has been a huge problem for Pete Alonso. When he connects, he usually hits a home run. And he takes a walk, 2-out walk, first and second, 2 outs for Starling Marte, another guy we need to pick it up in the second half. Right ring, yes. Very middle of Florida type of it's weird. It is weird. Yeah, Christina, but you know what? The reason why Pete Alonso was so dangerous last year wasn't just because of the home runs. It was because he was batting 260, and that's a huge deal. All right, let's see if Marte can get a 2-out RBI here. We need Marte to stop picking it up, man. It's been a huge disappointment.
We talked about Showalter about that. He gave us his version of that's baseball, Susan, because he said that, if you have a good year one year doesn't mean you're going to have a good year the next, and vice versa.
Marte pops it up, should end the inning, and it does. Hayward catches it, and the Mets do not score after the game of inches takes away a home run from Brandon Nimmo, hits off the top of the wall, leadoff double, turned into no runs. So, unfortunately, Mets don't score, so we're going to the top of the second. No score after 1. Once again, guys, thank you for tuning in to the channel. Mets Dodgers live game audio fan reactions right here on the channel. Don't forget, guys, Sunday, Shea Bridge Show is back with me and Hayden. And, of course, the Mets Roundtable podcast on Monday with, of course, the guys that you guys became accustomed to over the last couple of weeks that we started the Mets Roundtable. We're probably going to get a couple of guys in. Hopefully we get the full roundtable so we get a lot of perspectives and a lot of opinions for the second half. Guys have been putting out great content over the last 2 weeks, and they already gave their opinions on their channels and their platforms, but I want to bring a perspective in one space so everybody can get their opinions across through multiple platforms and channels, because when they do the podcast, they are putting it on multiple platforms of their own, and it's a lot of fun. So make sure you tune in to Sunday and Monday for both of those shows. I am going to the game tomorrow. I was going to go on Sunday, but I switched it up. So I'm going to go tomorrow to the game. It's a 7:00 game. So I'm able to go to that game. And Sunday, I probably can't do the live stream during that day because I got some things to do. But, of course, Sunday, the Shea Bridge Show will be there. Hopefully our Mets give us some good things to talk about. So we're going to the top of the second. No score. Mets had an opportunity in the first after the Nimmo not home run that was called not a home run, hitting the top of the wall and coming back into play with the leadoff double. Did not get the job done with their 2, 3, 4, 5 hitters up after that. So we'll see if Verlander can get a quick inning here and get the offense back up there, and hopefully they score some runs. It's been a huge problem for the New York Mets in the first inning with scoring runs. Let's just see if they can get their act together. Here we go. Top of the second, no score.
For the under. I mean, they're under 500 right now at 42 and 48.
Joe, 100%, because Sunday is supposed to be freaking hot. And Sunday is supposed to rain as well. It's supposed to be hot and rainy. So
Sure, as David Peralta
And, Sunday's going to be a problem because of the fact that the Dodgers and the Mets don't face each other anymore. So they're going to try to get that game in any way they can. So, right wing, I agree. Ever since he had the surgery as well. Remember, it wasn't even the hand that was the issue that he got hurt with. It was that core surgery at the end of the year that nobody knew about that he had. He was actually playing with with a sports hernia as well, along with the wrist. So. Where was that pitch? Jeez. Joe, I know the radio call is ahead, but the radio call I have to stream, so it won't actually. I mean, we could do that if you guys want. It's up to you guys. If you want the radio call, it's up to you. Since it's ahead.
Contribution that he gives the Dodgers is a good one, and there's never been an issue pointing about his play in right field. He's still rock solid defender in right field.
Peralt is a former Gold Glove winner as well. He takes ball 3 from Justin Verlander. The Dodgers have used a lot of young outfielders this year at times too.
Yep.
Johnny DeLuca was just
again. Somebody already said it. Game of inches. All right. Well, after the top of the second, I'll throw up the radio. Line right to Alonso, 1 out. I'll put the radio up. I'll put it on my my Alexa, and we'll be good to go. That's fine. The Braves can keep on winning. Who are the Braves facing?
Top heavy with that starting pitching. They've got a rock solid bullpen.
The White Sox. Well,
you can run out of there in and out all the time. They're getting Chris Taylor back off the IL, but it's been a terrific job by Dave Roberts. They come in 51 and 38 on the year, and Dave Roberts told us before the game he doesn't think they've at all come close to playing their best baseball.
Nice pitch.
He thinks their best baseball is still in front of them.
Yeah, easy. You know what I don't like about it also is that they got so many microphones around the stadium. When the fans cheer or boo or whatever, it overlaps the broadcast, which is stupid. I don't know who's Miami. Let me see. They're playing the Orioles.
So much of the sport now is analytically driven, but just in our brief conversations, and you and I, we get to talk to a lot of managers. Dave Roberts, he gets the analytical part of the human element part, and I think the cool part about it when you go to talk to him is he doesn't proclaim to be the smartest guy. He likes to have all the information, and then as he told us, you figure out
Brad, I get it.
how you want to do it, and you can't just.
And I will switch to the radio call once this inning is over.
This coming from an organization that is pretty heavy when it comes to analytics and how much it drives the thinking of the Dodgers.
Right, I agree. I ain't gonna lie though, I do like their City Connect ones though. I think that's one of the best uniforms.
Get the analytics to the players and get that information to them in the right way.
So Hayward's putting a good at bat together here.
2 strikes on Hayward, who has said that since coming over to the Dodgers, he's made some
Hey,
changes.
Joe, even though James McCann didn't provide anything for the Mets won with him. And look at the Orioles now, right? It's crazy.
And it helps too when you're in a winning environment. You touched on it. Bring in J.D. Martinez. You've got Betts, Freeman.
And Hayward grounds out softly to Alonso, flips to Verlander, 2 outs. Brad, that helps.
Hey, Roberts, a lot of wins, 5th most in franchise history. This is a Dodger franchise that has had some great managers over the years. Walter Alston and Tommy Lasorda since the move to Los Angeles. Dave Roberts, just like them, a World Series champion.
Some people in baseball think the biggest stolen base.
Yep, Joe, unfortunately. All right, 2 outs.
against the Yankees. Mets fans and Red Sox fans, they have a common enemy. So I'm sure the Mets fans love seeing that too.
James Outman is the batter.
Rookie James Outman has accomplished 1 ball and 1 strike. Outman has shown to be a very reliable center fielder for the Dodgers. He has some serious power. 11 home runs.
You can see Verlander's just missing on the corners and low and high right there, though. Like it's right there. He actually has pretty good control. Like he's just missing, just that the Dodgers are not swinging at those just miss corners of the plate.
Corbin Carroll, probably the favorite right now in the National League for Rookie of the Year.
Ooh, that high fastball is working tonight. They can't catch up to that high fastball. Yeah, they get paid every 2 weeks, Joe. I know that because I had a college teammate that got drafted and didn't really do well in the majors. He only played like 30 games in the majors. Popped it up. That's foul ball. And he did get paid every 2 weeks when he was getting the major league minimum for those. I think he played like 40 games. I think it was with the Indians at the time, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember the team. But yeah, you get paid every 2 weeks. Just think their paycheck, especially if you're making $43 million, is probably like $2 million every 2 weeks or some crap like that. Easy. Yeah. All right, come on, Justin. And he walks Outman. 2 outs, 1 on. 44 pitches for Verlander. 3 walks in 2 innings.
Normally he's got about 85 to 90 really good heaves in that gun, that bullet, that gun that he has. You remember days early on when he was with the Tigers, the whole industry used to marvel. He would start a game at 93, 94, 6th, 7th inning, be 97, 98. Get to the 8th and 9th, be punching near triple digits. Those days are gone. He's not that kind of a pitcher anymore. He needs the rest of his arsenal to go along with it.
Missing with ball 1 to Miguel Rojas. Verlander has had a lot of counts this year, start 1-0. His first pitch strike rate is barely over 50% this year.
You know, in fact, tonight, 6 of the 8 batters that he's faced have seen at least 6 pitches. So they're making JV work tonight.
Already 46 pitches. That is.
Yep, right wing. But I don't think anybody's feeling sorry for them. Thomas, how you doing, buddy? Oh, got him. He's out. Yeah, thank you. Saved some pitches for Verlander. So Outman got caught trying to steal. Verlander stepped off and thrown it to second base. So that saved at least 3 or 4 pitches probably for Verlander there. Thank God for that. And the Mets are out of the inning. So I'm going to leave the game on mute for my viewing purposes, but I am going to put the radio call on. The only problem with that, with the radio call, is that I can't mute it. And you know what? I'm going to stick with the Apple TV. I'll stick with the Apple TV because it is easier to mute it during the commercials. The radio is a little bit more annoying to lower it and raise it up again back and forth because if I put commercials on the stream, it will get copyrighted. So I'll stick with the Apple TV. Prime, I appreciate that, buddy. Again, I can't do it without you guys, right? I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys supporting it. So I appreciate that. Correct, Christian. Yeah, they get those paychecks during the season. So 12 paychecks. Wow, how nice. Well, I do like that. What my company does is in August, they reset the paycheck period. So in August, I get 4 checks, which is cool because they reset it for the new fiscal year. And so they give you 4 checks in the month so they can reset the pay period every 2 weeks. So I'm not going to complain about that. And August is a month where it's inventory, so I'll be working a lot of hours. So, yep, Joe, I'm telling you. And a lot of these guys have, after they retire, they're getting paid for teams until like 2035. So, everybody laughed about the July 1st Bobby Bonilla. The Mets have to pay. There's probably about 400 to 500 players that are getting paid residuals, basically, for all those back money that they're paying over like a 15-year span. So, yeah. So I'm going to keep the Apple TV on because it's easier to mute it when a commercial comes on just to stay away. And I know Apple TV is a little bit more, stickler for copyright. So I'm going to leave it on just because it's easier to lower it and mute it and all that stuff. So once the game comes back on, we're going to the bottom of the second. The Mets will have out McNeil, Alvarez, and Beatty. And McNeil's coming to the plate. Listen up, guys, and I'll be right back.
Leadoff double. It was nearly a home run. Originally called a home run. And Brandon Nimmo. And then the Mets were 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position from there. Talked about Marte going from 1 year to the next, struggling this season after a great year last year. Well, McNeil won the batting title, and you look at this year, he's hitting .253.
And I think the longer the calendar turns and flips from an April into May, it's a lot like what a pitcher goes through. You try not to look at the numbers, but you've got an ERA hovering over 5. You've got a batting average in the low 200s. You're trying to make up for lost time, and it gets awfully tough when you get into June. You've already had 250, 300 at-bats. It's a tough climb to get back up to that 275, 280.
Mets a few years ago in 2019 struggled before the All-Star break, then played really well immediately after it. They were 27 and 10 in the 37 games right after the break in 19. McNeil was a big part of that, started hitting for power. He puts a charge in this one, but not enough, as David Peralta backs up toward the wall in left with the warning track to make the catch on McNeil. It was Brandon Nimmo hitting off the top of the wall in right center field, originally called a home run. But after replay review, it was correctly called a double. And Brian Gorman joins us, powered by Zoom, to discuss that play. Brian, what is the second base umpire looking
So
for?
McNeil almost did what he needed to do, and these stupid split screens by Apple.
Railings that are beyond the pad that hold up the fence. And if it hits one of those railings, it is going to be a home run. So he apparently thought that probably that hit the railing and then came back. But the crew did a great job. They get together first and they discussed amongst the 4 of them. And then since it's a boundary call.
Oh yeah, I would always get the 4 for sure.
Team loses a challenge on this. So
And that just foul.
So they go to the headsets. So the crew did a great job. And back in my day, we didn't have this, so they have a lot of cameras out there. So it's our job is to get them right.
Do you have to put your arm around the guy who didn't get it right at first and console him a little bit, or is he okay?
Yeah, well, if somebody on the crew were, the majority of the crew has it as a double, they can flip it on the field, and then they can go to replay. So the call will not be overturned. The call will be confirmed. So I didn't know you were related to Tony.
Yes, he's my cousin. Thank you, Ron Gorman. Thank you very much.
Apparently, you get the looks of the family.
Well, at least somebody thinks so. Here's cousin Tony. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Francisco Alvarez. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, Joe, I think that's good enough to live on, right? And then he gets that New Balance endorsement and all that stuff too. So I think he gets like $110 million from New Balance. So yeah.
Alvarez called time, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes on Francisco Alvarez, the rookie catcher who's creamed the ball lately. He's 5 home runs in his last 8 games. He has 17 on the season.
Popped it up.
Pop up here, then Miguel Rojas will give way to Mookie Betts.
So after taxes, you get like $250,000 in New York, if you're lucky.
Another really good pitch from Perez. I think one of the things that makes him so special, but they call him almost a backwards type of lefty. So many lefties there are way. Watch this ball. He cuts this ball in. It's almost like a hard little cutter. It gets in on Alvarez. It looks like a strike, and it's there.
All right, Brett Beatty up to 2 outs. I do like that Brett Beatty's getting a start against the lefty. I do like that. It's a soft toss in lefty, so doesn't throw very hard. So Beatty should be able to get around on those fastballs at a 92, 93.
For him this year that he has had it. He's 26-year-old and be a free agent after this year. He was 19 when he made his big league debut here at Citfield in May of 2016. He's got a Brett Beatty, 1 ball and 2 strikes. It's a day that's obviously special to Arias. He has the date tattooed on his arm with a clock around it to commemorate his big league debut, which happened here more than 7 years ago. Balls and 2 strikes on Beatty.
Yeah, more than likely he'll be adding another tattoo with a bunch of dollar signs and free agent.
Like crazy insurance rates? What do you mean? Like property insurance or car insurance? Oh, and he rang him up saying he did not check his swing. So that ends the inning in the bottom of the second for the Mets. So 2 innings, Mets have 1 hit, Dodgers have none. Going to the top of the third. Once again, guys, if you haven't hit that like button yet, please do. You are watching Mets Dodgers and listening to the game audio from Apple TV. And, of course, getting the instant fan reactions from yourself. Oh, yeah, the homeowner's insurance. Car insurance is crazy. I thought it was cheaper down south. Because you see everybody with Florida license plate in New York, as most of you transplants from Florida know about that if you lived in New York. So really the insurance is higher. Jesus. I heard about the homeowner stuff. I know that. Has it gone up ever since the pandemic? Is that because everybody's like flocking towards the South in particular? Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Me thinking that going to Florida would save me money. Even though I think it will with no state tax, considering the fact I probably save about $500 a check. Yeah, I figured that. Yeah, because I remember when I was looking at houses, I was looking at houses a couple of prior to the pandemic, and you can find a 2-3 family home, 3 bed home for probably under 200 in certain places of Florida. And now, that same house is probably going for 300-400, maybe more. So yeah, that's crazy. But again, you gotta get the hurricane insurance, flood insurance, all that stuff also. So that adds on to the hefty bill. Get a condo, you don't have to worry about it, right? Oh, look at that, Prime. Joe, there's certain Costco's that are union. Like the Costco in Westbury, Long Island is a union store because certain cities, certain little cities, you have to be union in certain cities, but my Costco is not union. So, but again, the union in those type of stores really don't do much for you, to be honest with you. Yeah, right wing, I know. But you know what? I'd rather have the maintenance fees because at least I know that money is going for something. You could be paying for hurricane insurance for, for 15 years and never have to basically use it. At least I know the maintenance fees are going for garbage, gym if there's any, any utilities, anything that has to get fixed around the apartment, the condo and all that. Yeah, I think a lot of New Jersey ones. I think there's more New Jersey unions, but that's more like state and city regulated as well. Let's see if Verlander can put up more zeros. Yeah, Port St. Lucie was always expensive for even before the pandemic. I was even looking around there. Yeah, it's hard to get in your first time in a union Costco. You usually have to transfer as already an employee.
Let's listen. The Mets need to go on one of these 20-game runs where they go at least.
That's right to Alonso or not?
Rojas jammed as he loops one to Alonso for the out. One away
Yeah.
here in the third.
Yeah, like when I got injured in 2018, before I was allowed to get back on the forklift, I was going to transfer to the Union Westbury store. But you got to pay union dues, and those type of unions, these are retail unions. They don't really do nothing for you. You don't make enough money in that type of shop to have like a great pension, and that's a pop up. Should be 2 outs, and it is.
His career in the regular season against Verlander and count playoffs 2 for 29 against Justin Verlander as he's over 2 tonight.
Yeah, sometimes there's no rhyme or reason why some pitchers have success against certain hitters. Maybe Mookie Betts just has a difficult time picking up the ball where other Verlander releases it. Sometimes there's no rhyme or reason. It can be right on right, left on left.
One to Freddie Freeman, who drew a walk his first time.
So we need our friends, the Cincinnati Reds, to beat up on the Brewers too.
247 career wins. 3 away from 250. Number that's gotten harder and harder to reach.
Do you, Christina?
Started pitching has
Well, I
changed
worked.
over the last few decades.
Obviously, I can't work from home what I do at my job, so I had to be in at work during the pandemic. So for everybody who worked at home and still continues to, God bless you. I rather work from home. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm sick of going to work.
We showed you Scherzer before. He's 12th on the all-time strikeout list, and both could pass Phil Negro and Greg Maddux fairly soon. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Freddie Freeman. Verlander as he's turned 40.
Yeah. Well, Sam's Club is in a lot of areas around the certain states where they require a union. I think to protect the employees, because Walmart's very insane with their employees. And strike 3, Max Scherzer is dealing. Looked really good in the third. No hits through 3 innings. Pitch count is up there a little bit, but he had a pretty quick inning this inning, so that helps out a little bit. So the Mets are going to the bottom of the third. No score. The Mets will have up 9-1-2. Canna, Nimmo, Pham. Oh, you see, yeah, Christina. See, in my case, I have a cat, so that's all I got to worry about. So I wouldn't have to. I go home. Listen, I love that. I knew a couple of people that worked from home, and they, especially the ones that worked in jobs where you basically have to get dressed up to go to work, and they sat in their computer chair, woke up like 5 minutes before they had to log in, put on a collared shirt, and basically have nothing underneath. So good for you guys. Yeah, exactly. So, that's how it goes. And again, like I said, I'm not complaining. I already spoke to Joe about, because, Joe even talked about applying to Costco. He asked me, I think he put me as a reference, and he asked me, my salary and everything like that. And like I said, listen, I can't complain considering the work. Like there's jobs that do the same job I do and are not even close to be getting what I get paid. If I tell you what a forklift driver get paid at BJ's compared to Costco, you're going to think I'm stealing money. Like that's how much of a difference it is. Like I said, you're not going to get rich off of that, but you can survive okay in New York at least. So, again, I'm one of those people that have 2 degrees and I'm working in retail. And the reason for that is because I got 2 degrees in fields I did not like, and I didn't realize that until after I got those jobs. So, unfortunately for me, I wasted a lot of college years and some loans. But hey, so yeah, yeah. Wasn't Marlboro? Isn't that the warehouse, like the depot center where they load the trucks in? That's where you went? Because I think the Marlboro is the one of the the factories where they load the trucks. All right, so Mark Cannon leading off, bottom of the third, no score.
Lead off the bottom of the third against Julio Reyes.
I'll be right back.
To the strike, yes, we have Tony Gonsolin, Dodger starting pitcher, watching from the dugout, joining us. Hi, Tony.
Hey guys, how you guys doing?
Doing well. Did you enjoy the break?
Yeah, much needed rest. Looking forward to the second half.
And it moves it to Mookie Betts. Freddie Freeman at the All-Star game itself on the microphone said it's been tough to adjust to having Mookie on the infield. What about you to look behind you on the mound and see Mookie right behind you?
I mean, I like it. He's supportive of everything we do on the mound, and man, he's athletic. He can go get the ball wherever he's at. Happy to have him on defense, honestly. I don't care where he's playing.
Hey Tony, there's been a lot of talk with the pitch clock. Have you found it a little bit of a challenge?
Ball hit well off the bat. Nice leaping grab by Hayward to retire him.
Yeah, pitch clock. I mean, it is what it is. I feel like we all go to adjust it. Maybe at times it feels a little quick, but just gotta make the adjustment.
Does it feel more quick like when you have runners in scoring position, they're pitching out of the stretch? Even though that 20 seconds, it may seem like it goes by really quick.
No, I don't think so. I think that if anything, it's like in the windup. Maybe you gotta go to the rosin or just take an extra second to get there. So that you look up and it's counting down 4, 3, and just like, okay, just gotta get on the mound, no prep, and just get to it.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. You kind of have one eye on the clock and then one eye on the catcher. You kind of have to get your attention on two different areas.
Yeah, I mean, with the pitch or with the pitch column stuff, it's a little easier to. You don't actually have to look at the catcher, so you can be a little more cognizant of what the clock is doing, and then once you look back at the catcher, you both know what you're throwing, and just kind of lock it in.
2 balls and a strike on Tommy Pham. Trying to get a lot of young pitchers on this roster, especially in the rotation. You taking it upon yourself at all? Do you feel like it's your place to kind of bring some of these younger guys along?
A TV editor. What is that exactly, Jay? I'm very curious because that seems like a fun job.
But I always let them know, all the young guys, whoever it is, the bullpen, position players, or young starters, that if they have any questions, let me know, and if I can handle it, just kind of, that's a Kershaw question. I don't think.
And Tommy Pham hits it hard, and a nice play by Jason Hayward to end the inning. So the Mets don't score in the bottom of the third. No score going to the top of the fourth. So are you on strike right now? Because I know the writers, I'm assuming you're probably part of that union, or maybe not. What the hell do I know? I'm curious about that because that seems like a TV editor. Like, is that like commercials? Like you edit the commercials, put it in, or you work for like a channel or something like that? I'm always curious about that. I haven't heard that one before. That's interesting. So Mets don't score in the bottom of the third, top of the fourth coming up. Dodgers will have up Smith, Muncy, and Martinez in the fourth. Dodgers don't have a hit through 3, and the Mets only have 1 hit, almost a sound editor. Okay. So are you a part of that strike right now? That is going on. I think what is it, the writers and filmmakers or whatever the hell it's called? Yeah. Oh, you're a sound editor. So you're like, okay, a sound editor. Like for movies, TV shows, or how does that work? Like I'm so curious. Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah, I know the writers and actors. I know because I think like a couple of the movies that were getting made have to basically be a halt. It's like, come on, guys, how many times can I watch Sons of Anarchy, Breaking Bad, Ozark, and all that stuff? Like I'm watching stuff that I don't want to watch. Yeah, I'm waiting for what was the other? Oh my God, Jesus! I gotta watch the. I haven't even watched the last season of You, so I gotta catch up on that. I watched Better Call Saul. I watched like 2 seasons, I think. I like how they, obviously combined it together a little bit, but I'm not a big fan of Better Call Saul. It was all right, but it didn't do it for me. You know, I do like a lot of the cartel stuff. That's why Ozark is so cool. I like a lot of the, you know, all the cartel stuff. I thought that's always pretty cool, those type of shows. You know, all right, so they're talking to Buck Showalter. Let's see what he's got to say.
This pitch count is up there. What are you seeing from him tonight?
The Dodgers are good. Justin is too. It's a lot of fun. They got two good pitchers. You know, pitch to the top of the game. He's not going to give in, and he's not counting pitches out there. He's trying to get people out.
On the flip side, your offense, you've hit a lot of balls hard, but don't have anything to show for it. What are you seeing from those guys?
Yeah, you know, obviously he's a good pitcher.
So Verlander got 58 pitches in the fourth.
A lot of different vertical horizontal break, but you know, we're an inch away from being ahead of 1-0. But
Oh, you worked a few Ozark. That's cool.
We're going to have to continue to pitch well.
Thanks, Bob.
Well, Nick, I mean, if the Mets pitch well, I think they can easily take 2 out of 3. Yeah, he was, Joe. He was. You know, it's funny. Give me a second. Let's just let it go down.
If they clear it, things go very well for the Mets. There's another strike from Verlander. The Mets are 27-4 on the season.
Yeah, Aaron Paul and Brian Cranston, they actually representative of a liquor company that was selling liquor at Costco, and they actually did autograph signing for the liquor. And if you bought a bottle of the liquor, they signed it for you in the Long Island, one of the Long Island Costco's. All right, Verlander is looking good. Love it.
Be here today with your back-to-back video here at Citfield. But it is good to be back. I spent 8 seasons here on Mets Radio and worked alongside the great Howie Rose, pitch hit for Gary every now and then on SNY. And this is a great place, a very good baseball community. I'm thrilled to be here at Citfield tonight.
This is like a well-planned night, homecoming night. Your cousin's home. Could it get any better for Wayne Randazzo right now?
There is Tony Randazzo, the home plate umpire. Doing a marvelous job tonight. He's going to grade very highly, I think, based on what he's done so far in this one. Despite what Showalter says.
Yeah, Joe, they do act like a hard ass.
Look at the home plate umpire. His grades. Don't worry about it.
Well, Joe, they might. Like I said, you got to find a shop that's not union. That would help.
Make the move to the West Coast with the Angels. Do great work with Mark Gubicza. So you kind of you feel a little bit like what a player feels like you're.
Yeah, and the managers that either the supervisor or manager that interviews you, they always act like they're assholes and act all hard. But they're a bunch of punks once you get to work with them.
The great broadcasting legends they have had here in New York over the years. And still have
Nice pitch.
Howie Rose and Gary Cohen were inducted into the Mets Hall of Fame this year. Bob Murphy and Ralph Kiner before that, Lindsey Nelson too. It's a great lineage of Mets broadcasters. And there's Howie with his new partner, Keith Rad, on Mets Radio. There's Madge, the producer, the Magic Man himself.
And hits the bottom of the knob. Trouble.
Fouls that one off.
Well, how unfortunate was Muncie there, right? That's like inches away from hitting off that hand, that bottom hand. This goes right off the knob of the bat. And that ball is a couple of inches one way or another. It hits kind of right in that wrist area that's so delicate.
3 balls, 2 strikes on Muncie. Mets broadcasters, great analysts. They've been
True,
to
Joe.
McCarver really kind of
Come on, Justin, let's go.
back in the 80s when he was with the Mets, and Keith Hernandez and Ron Darling now. Of course, the Dodgers, they just needed one broadcaster. Finn.
Yeah.
He strikes out.
2 outs.
Justin Verlander has found his punch-out pitch tonight. As he has struck out 3 in a row, 5 overall.
So Shea woke up.
Pitching decisions presented by Sage.
So there goes Shea, guys.
Martinez.
He wanted to make an appearance. He finally woke up after his dinner.
Made him aware inside for those first 2 meters and then ran one upstairs about chest level.
Second of the 5
There he goes,
strikeouts
guys.
So far, as Verlander
He gets a little scared sometimes with the noises.
Getting the strikeouts the way he normally does. Verlander with 62 strikeouts in 74 innings.
He had his dinner, so he's happy after his nap.
Season high in strikeouts this year is 8. That came against Toronto June 2nd.
Back in the year he had last year, we 18-4 with a 1.75 ERA. Coming off of surgery, had a big year with the Astros.
Parlay that into a big contract with the Mets. Martinez with a
Fly ball right to Canna, and that ends the inning. So 4 no-hit innings for Justin Verlander, and Shea made another appearance. So far, so good. The Mets got to get some runs here. Give a little bit of get some runs there for Verlander. There, he's pitching pretty good right now. Pitch count, is high, but again, I don't worry about Verlander's pitch count. He had 5-6 days off since his last start. I guarantee you, he's going to throw over 100 pitches for sure. So he can easily go 6 or 7. Yeah, Joe, I saw it really quick. Let me check something. Hold on. I don't know if you hear Shay. When it rains, he actually starts crying because he don't know what's going on. He starts to meow all over the place. Joe, I might have to ask because I know there's a couple people that I worked with that traveled around, that transferred around, but I don't know. I'll find out for you though. I know people that work for in Florida. Sorry, Shay just jumped on the table over here. He likes to jump on the table and come on the computer just to make a mess. There he goes. See, he's blocking the screen. You see. He's trying to take away my camera time, right? He's famous now, you see? There he goes. Sorry about that, guys. He wanted to make an appearance. I think he messed up my camera, too. Try to take away camera time. All right, so the Mets are going to the bottom of the 4th. No score. The Mets... Verlander, pitch count is high, but hasn't given up a hit as of yet. I don't know what's going on with my text messages. Very annoying. All right, so bottom of the 4th. Mets will have Alonso, Marte, and McNeil. Let's see if we get some damn runs for Verlander. Let's go. Thomas, nothing yet with the 7-line in London. I do know that Darren is working on it.
He's not totally sure,
I'm sorry, Lindor, Alonso, McNeil. And that's a pop-up. First pitch should be 1 out, and it is.
Yeah, you guys got Verlander's pitch count up in the early innings. He seems to be getting stronger as Justin Verlander does. What do you guys need to do to get through against him?
I think just keep trying to wait him out. I think that sometimes when you don't see a hit on the board, you try to get a little antsy. Just for us not to be afraid to run counts, get deep into their count, keep trying to make
Alonso up 1 out. No score in the 4th.
Francisco Lindor flying out to begin the bottom of the 4th. Now Pete Alonso, the batter. Verlander might have a high pitch count, but Arias certainly does not. He's been very economical here early on.
Yeah, that pitch right there, he's been able to land his secondary pitches. It's a good slurve. It's kind of a combo between a slider and a curveball. He's been able to land it for strikes.
Way out up front of that 92 miles an hour fastball. Joe, no. I mean, Dodgers fans wanted to fire him for years. How many times he made bad decisions in the playoffs? I think they got lucky because of the pandemic, to be honest with you. For a team that constantly wins divisions and basically has the best records almost every year in the National League, they choke every year. If it wasn't for the pandemic year, they'd probably choke again. They were just having as much of a drought as the Mets World Series wise. Alonso pops it up. 2 outs.
Now 2 up, 2 down for Reyes. Has retired 9 in a row. It's time for our weekly Siri trivia question. Just ask Siri, who has won the home run derby the most times? Bill Pete's won it a couple of times. Starling Marte bats next.
Joe, no. I think if it was a full season and they'd probably choke again. We got to remember, the NL East was going on runs here with World Series appearances and championships. So would anybody be shocked if another NL team would have won again? They kind of been going on a run. Come on, Starling. You knock one over the wall? Yeah, Sergeant, I heard him. Again, he's the guy that I mean, I don't like him at all. The Mets can win the World Series and they'll still have a problem with something. I don't like people like that. All right? The ball hit him, and he gets the first base, so we got a man on with 2 outs. With McNeil coming up.
Hit by pitch. Might be a break here for the Mets. See another four-seamer that he runs in, maybe just clips. That right forearm of Marte stands out over the plate. I'm sure Walter was telling us before the game, you know, the Mets have been the last couple of years been hit more than any team in baseball, whether it's by accident or not.
Dodgers are challenging
the hit by pitch. Interesting challenge in the 4th inning.
Because it's tough to really get a close look on these.
I don't know if they can tell.
Whether this hit the bottom of the bat or the arm of Marte or both. Replay review powered by Zoom.
It kind of looked like it changed directions. It hit some of the bat, right?
Yeah. But is there enough visually there to, I mean, if you lose your challenge on this, it's a tough one to lose your challenge on because these are never completely clear cut.
I'm going to have to decide when this hits off the knob, watch the ball change its directions.
Yeah, that doesn't, there's this risky rush there. It's hard to tell. The call in the field is that he was hit by the pitch. So they're looking at it, they're pointing at it. We're doing the same thing. The umpires there will vote and decide whether
Yeah,
Marte,
I'm sorry. It's too close to call. They got to keep it what the umpire said on the field.
To be a case of not enough evidence against the original
Usually when there's not enough evidence,
to turn it over.
bring you some audio. We'll see if we can dissect it that way. Does that help?
Sorry,
Marte turning
guys.
back to the home plate umpire.
I think they're taking way too much time. There should be 30 seconds, and then it should just
Pretty good job
stop.
here by Urias. He's been standing around for a couple of minutes waiting for a decision.
So Shay's hanging out with us right now.
A few feet away to the batter's box.
He likes under his neck pet all the time.
You know, talking about pitch timers.
Way too long. Let's see. Hit by pitch, so we get the 2 out runner on with Jeff McNeil coming up.
They end up just standing because there's not clear-cut visual evidence to overturn them. Major League Baseball would think about maybe
Come on, Jeff.
a time
Jeff hit a
limit
ball
on review so they don't
hard
take a
his
long
first time up. See if he can
It just kinda is what
get
it
a
is.
nice piece of that ball again like he did his first time up.
Marte's on base. The Dodgers do lose their challenge on a 50-50 like a coin flip. See if that impacts them later. Here's McNeil, who flied to left his first time.
See, one of the things, the lefties have had some pretty good ABs. VENMO's hit the ball hard a couple of times off of Urias. I think the ability for him to cut that ball into righties. That breaking ball, a little bit more of a sweeper to lefties.
Neil had a good cut, but it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
You would have to think as easy as it is for him to get the ball in on righties, that being able to get that down and away zone to a lefty would be pretty much second nature. Such a tough pitch to hit for a lefty. you have to almost concede, okay, am I going to try to pull the ball and hit it to left field?
Catches the outside corner. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes on McNeil. Cousin Tony says go.
Come on, Jeff.
That's how it is.
I really was trying to go for Rick being quiet because I certainly didn't let him have it there. Yeah, I wasn't looking for some kind of war between the Rendazzo family. Come on, Tony, shake it up back there.
Yeah, Joseph, I'm trying. Not a lot of sleep.
2 balls, 2 strikes on McNeil.
And you would have to wonder if you're a home plate umpire the night before a game. And it's like kind of has to be a lot like a player. You go through slumps where there's a lot of close pitches during the course of a game, and
Yeah, Christopher, it wasn't a home run. It hit the top of the wall. They called it a home run on the field, but then checked it in review. And McNeil flies it. Should go foul.
Swung down toward the line. Lands in the seats. As McNeil slices that one foul.
I mean, can you imagine you're umpiring behind home plate? You gotta get
Joseph, no. If I do that, I'll drive myself nuts, to be honest with you.
It's not like the day and age where you had so many pitching staffs 15, 20 years ago, sinker, slider. You had a lot of the same kind of guys, and now there's more velocity than ever. There's more high spin rate, more really good split fenders.
And McNeil strikes out to end the inning, and there's no score through 4 innings. Mets have 1 hit. Dodgers have no hits. Going to the top of the 5th. No score. Peralta, Hayward, and Outman is coming up for the Dodgers in the top of the 5th. So, offensively, out of the break, the Dodgers and Mets show no life at the plate so far. Mets were close to having a 1-0 lead, and that was the only hit of the game. Nimmo in the first inning, first at bat of the ball game. I don't know. They're showing this. What is this? The Dracula movie? That thing looks insane. The Last Voyage of the Dementor. Oh, yes. I got to see that. I don't know about you guys, but I'm very interested. I can't wait for Oppenheimer to come out on the 21st. I'll be in Boston, so I'm going to go and watch that movie in Boston at a theater. So that's going to be fun for me. I'm obsessed with that. Obviously, that was all about the atomic bomb and all that stuff. So, oh, yeah, that's right up my alley. So once again, guys, don't forget to please hit on that like button. Shay is hanging out with us. He's on my lap right now, hanging out. Nice and full and got enough sleep. So Shay is entertaining himself with the Mets, or lack thereof. Yeah, you. Sorry, I don't know if you guys know the term. If you have a cat, it's called making biscuits, where they do this thing with the paws. So, yeah. Yes. And then he likes to turn over and gets his belly rubbed, so good for him. They got the life. Don't got to work. They just got to eat, go to the bathroom, and that's it. I agree, Sergeant. I think at the very least 4 out of 2, 4 out of 6, but I would love to go 5-1, man. Oh, man, that would be great. Yeah, I agree, Joseph. The problem is the Dodgers don't look any better. And it's not like Justin Verlander is pitching like really, really great. He's struggling with location, but he's getting out of innings, so I can't complain. So, top of the 5th, no score, no hits for the Dodgers, 1 hit for the Mets.
7 outs with a 4-seam with a curveball and the slider. Only 1 out with the slider.
Oh, Shay is back. Come on, buddy.
Goes to the lineup the second time if he starts to use that slider a little bit more. That's really been the pitch he's relied on in 2023.
Really good here at Citfield, Verlander. You gave up 6 runs in his first.
Right wing, we could do that as well.
Against the Rays. Since then, he has allowed just 3 earned runs in his last 36 innings here at Citfield.
I do like Justin Verlander throwing a lot of fastballs.
You get that kind of comfort on your home mound. Does that sort of calm you from start to start in the home ball?
It's a huge.
I agree, Sergeant. That was their big problem in May when they had all those bad teams. They lost a lot of those. They got to beat the bad teams that they're facing over the next 3 weeks before the about 2 weeks before the trade deadline. They got to beat those teams.
But they all have their little differences. Some are a little bit more sticky. Some the visual appears like
Come on.
it's closer. I remember at old Yankee Stadium, it just looked like home plate wasn't 60 feet 6 inches. It looked like it was a mile away.
I think so too, Ray Wing. Joe, yeah, I do work tonight. Of course, this game is already an hour and a half in, and they're only in the 5th inning.
The fans are right on top of you. You almost get the perception that it's closer than 60 feet 6 inches.
And this is still a pitcher's ballpark. They've moved the fence in a couple of times here at Citfield. They moved right field in just during this past offseason. Still is a place that favors the pitcher's ultimate.
Really, if you could just keep the ball
Yeah, Joe, I will.
center field towards that left field.
Come on,
play,
Justin.
This is as good a ballpark as there is in baseball to pitch in.
That might drop. All right, Mark. Good job. Good job. Good job.
Really nice play here by Canada. Good job, too, for Lindor to get out of the way. A lot of times you'll see an outfielder coming in and a shortstop going out, and they avoid a collision. You can see Canada reading his lips. I got it. I got
Good
it.
job by Canna actually calling the ball, which is nice to see.
Good job by both.
Robert, no, he's not a baseball fan.
That's coming in to get a ball like that.
More of the football fan.
Nice play by Canada, preserving so far.
I do have a lot of Yankee fans in my job, though.
Although it's 78 pitches in 4 1/3 innings. If the Mets do go the distance with it, it likely will be a multiple pitcher effort. It's 1 ball, 1 strike.
But on the 4th of July, a lot of my coworkers were able to put together a softball game for the 4th of July. It was morning crew versus the night crew, and we kind of destroyed them, which was hilarious. It was like web gems, like it was crazy.
What we've seen the last couple of innings, that was one of the better.
Joseph, nah.
Verlander's thrown. Normally he's pretty high.
All I gotta say, name 5 players in the 90s, and then they shut up. That's all I gotta say. That shuts them up rather quickly. Because half of the Yankee fans are fake ones.
2-2 on Hayward. The slider hasn't been quite the same in terms of effectiveness this year. Has had better luck with the curve.
Joseph, yeah.
We've talked about
It was a lot of guys that actually used to play baseball in high school and college that, got back in the groove. So they were like, yeah, we're going to dominate. You get competitive, especially when you play sports your whole life. All right, come on. Don't walk this bum.
Oh, that's textbook pitching right there. The pitch before that, he ran that four-seamer up in the zone. Using one pitch to set up the next. The 2-2 fastball, it was up, and then he comes back with that breaking ball right there and misses with it. But now you can go either way. He's shown command of his pitches. If you're feeling safe, you go back with that fastball down and away.
And he walks Hayward. Damn it.
Ball 4. So Verlander has walked 4 tonight in addition to his 5 strikeouts. That's partially racked up the pitch count. He's thrown 3 no-hitters in his career, and he's been a 9-time All-Star. Last year, winning his 3rd Cy Young Award.
All right, so Verlander walked the second batter, 1 out.
Until this year, whatever that's worth now, with more balanced interleague schedule. Still a guy who's been in one league for the entirety of his career, now switching leagues toward the end.
83 pitches for Scherzer. Again, I'm not worried about Scherzer. He's had, 6 days off since the last time he pitched. So he can go well over 100 pitches, which should be at least another inning at the very least if he gets out of this one. Yeah, exactly, Sergeant. Again, a couple of those early walks should have been strikeouts. He didn't get the call. So that's an extra 10 pitches added, maybe even 15 pitches. He should have 70 pitches in the 5th, which is not great, but it's better. Oh, damn. He would have got Hayward if it was a better throw. Oh, Robert, I'd love to do that. Like I said, I know my baseball history and Mets history. Again, I'm not perfect, but I think I would fare pretty well.
8 home runs, and he's always a threat. He's a good base runner, too.
Come on, Justin.
Verlander's walked 4, that ties a season high. Walked 4 against the Braves in a game where he only
I mean, didn't the Mets score like 1 run? They scored 1 run in the last 2 games against the Padres. And today, 5 innings, 9, that's 14. They're about, what is it? 1 run in 24 innings over the last 3 games. I think that was a big problem. And ball 4, not what you want to do. These are the guys you got to get. So first and second, 1 out.
Traffic for the Dodgers with Miguel Rojas coming up. Mets are dishing out the dollars, that's for sure. Scherzer and Verlander, the 2 highest paid players in Major League history in terms of AAV. Francisco Lindor's got a huge contract, long term. And with Diaz given the richest contract.
Gee, you might be right, but I think he's going to get 1 more batter. Again, if you take him out here, you're going to get guys like Jeff Brigham. I mean, I'd rather have Verlander on the mound, try to get out of it, than a Jeff Brigham or some other disaster like Drew Smith. Get a double play. Get out of the inning.
Struggled a little bit the first couple innings there. Kind of yanked that one out of the strike zone. Wouldn't be surprised if Buck Showalter doesn't get somebody up in the bullpen the last 4 or 5 pitches. Seems to be a little bit out of sorts, kind of straining and stressing.
Nobody's up yet in the Mets bullpen. Verlander behind Miguel Rojas, 1 ball, no strikes. David Peterson has been added to the Mets bullpen, coming out of the rotation.
Remember, we also got
Quintana goes into the rotation.
Yeah.
Peterson last pitch.
Interesting. Nobody warming up in the bullpen yet.
As a starter in San Diego.
Ball 2. Oh,
Strikes,
that's trouble.
Quintana will pitch Wednesday against the White Sox. That was announced today. The Mets DFA veteran TJ McFarland make room for Quintana.
You don't want to walk him to get the bets with the bases loaded. Oh, that's not good.
What makes it difficult, too, we've touched on it a couple of times in the broadcast tonight with this pitch clock, particularly with runners on base. The stress level goes up.
Robert, I've tried. I've tried. A lot of the times they got deals with other people, not just YouTubers, but like other like platforms that they don't go on without a payment. And it's not cheap.
There's a strike and it's 3-1. Verlander's career high in walks is 7. That was all the way back in 2006. Verlander's Tigers went to the World Series that year. He walked 7 in a game at Fenway.
Ball 4. And walks 3 batters, and now Hefner is going to go talk to him. So let's put it on mute. I have to talk to him. Bases loaded, 1 out with Mookie Betts, top of the order. And that's where, look, this is probably going to be a ball game. I know it's only the 5th inning, but you know they got a couple of runs here. The Mets don't look like they're scoring runs anytime soon. So again, you can't look. You walk 3 batters. It was the bottom of the order. Can't do that. None of these guys are good hitters. And you walk 3 batters in a row. What is it? 7 walks on the game. That's been a killer for him. You know, it's going to be tough to double up Mookie Betts. And, of course, one of the better hitters in baseball now got the bases loaded. So, here we go.
Trouble from a Mets standpoint here is Mookie Betts.
Yeah, Steezy, that scares me.
Betts has been one of the best in baseball since he was with the Red Sox making his big league debut. His first full year in 2015. He's been to 7 All-Star games since then. Bases loaded, he takes ball 1. Betts has really tapped into his power this year. His career high in home runs 35 came last year. There's Peterson getting loose in the bench.
Yeah, David Peterson warming up in the bullpen.
6 homers this year. Leads the National League in extra base hits. He lines his ball to the left. Cannon is there. Comes in.
Oh, and he doesn't make the catch. So they get 1 run. I'm surprised Canada didn't get that ball. Yeah, that should have been an out, even though it was hit hard. 1-0 Dodgers. That's a tough play right at you, though. it's hard to judge the height of the ball because he clearly froze. Yep. Yeah, that's an out. That's got to be an out. Hayward would have never scored on that play.
Trying to make up for it, trying to catch that backhanded off the ground.
Not bad yet, but you got to get. It's only one out.
He kept it in front of him. That ball could have ricocheted off the wall.
Runners were at their bases expecting that ball to be caught. So Alvin advanced to third. Was lucky to get there. As Canada threw it that way. Hayward scored. They give Mookie Betts an RBI single.
Oh boy. 3-0 Dodgers. Oh, walks kill. Walks kill. And Verlander is going to be out of this game.
One of the many reasons why Freddie Freeman, one of the premier players in the game. Justin Verlander's been on the ropes.
Again, gave up no hits through 4. And the walks to the bottom of the order. With the top of the order coming up, you're playing with fire, and he got burned. 3-0 Dodgers. Guy on third, second and third with 1 out.
Just a lot of different ways this guy can beat you. A perennial all-star, runs the bases really well. Hits for power, hits for average.
It's just that Dave Roberts and Verlander touches 98. That pitch is 99th of the night, a strike to Will Smith. But he's hoping his team would wait out Verlander. They did this inning, 3 straight walks. Now the hits come to deliver 3 runs so far.
I think the one frustrating thing as a pitcher when you feel like you beat yourself. You go back
Well,
and look at a
you know what? You can't walk the bottom 3 hitters. I mean, that should have been an easy inning for him. I don't think any of those guys are batting over 250. I mean, come on. You can't walk them. Let him beat you. Play to contact. I just don't understand that.
Fastball to levels we have not seen tonight as he gets toward the end of his performance. 98 miles an hour a couple of times here to Will Smith.
Yeah. Well, Joseph, I mean, let's not act like the Mets offense didn't have a chance to score runs. They should have scored runs. Like they didn't either. When Verlander was putting up zeros, they could have put up a few runs to give him a break. And Will Smith strikes out, 2 outs.
Third time Smith has punched down. Verlander is now batting 6.
Yeah, that last pitch to Will Smith wasn't a particularly good curveball. Watch, it's a little bit of a hanger. You can see Will Smith, he'd like to have that one back. Sometimes it's better to be lucky and good.
2 down. Max Muncy struck out his last time. He's also walked.
Exactly, VP.
3 true outcomes. They are there for Muncy.
Mika, well,
His plate appearances this year. Verlander's thrown 103 pitches on a warm and humid night here in New York.
fly ball should end the inning. And it does. But the Dodgers get 3 runs. I mean, that Mookie Betts hit to left, that should have been the second out of the game. And who knows what would have happened. But didn't happen. He missed it. Didn't read the ball off the bat. And it led to 1 run and then kept the inning going for Freeman to get 2 more runs. 3-0 Dodgers going to the bottom of the 5th. I mean, let's get the offense going a little bit. How about that? They scored 1 run in the last 24 innings? That's not good either. Yeah, well, Jay, that's the bigger problem. The 3 walks in a row to the 7, 8, and 9 hitters when you got Betts and Freeman coming up, yeah, you're looking for trouble. You know, I don't know. The offense hasn't shown anything. You know, it would have been nice when he was putting up zeros, the Mets to score a couple of runs, put the pressure on the Dodger offense, but I guess not, right? You know, it's not a performance that you wanted. You wanted to at least get 6 innings from him. And that's why Buck left him out there to, deal with the 5th inning. Because, now David Peterson is going to come into the game. And who knows if David Peterson, who's another guy who loves to walk people, coming out of the pen. We'll see how that works out. I'm a little surprised he didn't take Verlander out to put in Peterson, the lefty, even though Freeman hits lefties well. Well, Joseph, again, when you're 6 games under 500 and the expectations are very down right now, I mean, are you shocked? I'm going to the game tomorrow. It's a Saturday night. You would think it'd be a packed house. I mean, it might be. I mean, the Mets come back and win. I guarantee there'll be more people at the game tomorrow. It's just how it goes. So Mets are losing 3-0, going to the bottom of the fifth. There's a lot of game left. So we'll see if the Mets offense can actually show a little bit of life here. Well, Joseph, you don't pack the season in until, look, you got 15 games before the trade deadline. And there's actually people still coming into the ball game. I mean, that's insane. People are stupid, I swear. All right, Alvarez is leading off, 3-0. Yeah, explosive. They will if they don't turn it around. And that is a fly ball, 1 out. Yeah. Jet fans better be careful. They might end up like the Mets. The Jets are like the Mets with the bad luck. So you hear no announcing. They're doing like field level sound, whatever the hell that is. Very odd. Well, I'm glad everybody loves Brett Beatty. No, I think Rodgers is going to play well. I think the Jets defense is going to take a step back, to be honest with you. And Brett Beatty goes to first base on a catcher's interference. Hey, we got a base runner. Yay. Dave Roberts, you're reading his lips. He's saying it was a foul ball no matter what. But again, catches interference automatically gives the batter the base. So I know, Christina. We're blaming Christina today because she left, even though she had to put the kiddos away to sleep. All right, Mark Canada's up with a man on, 1 out. Got to try to get back into this ball game here with a couple of runs. And a fastball right down the middle popped up to Freeman. That's a pitch to hit. You missed it. Well, the 4.70 Urias is no match for the Mets offense. Jeez.
likes the pitches. He struggled right before he went on the IL. And he said in his last start, he felt like he found something with his off-speed pitches. He's had really good command of his fastball away to lefties, into righties. Good slider or slurve.
I mean, even Nimmo can't get around on a 94 miles an hour fastball. It's crazy.
After the All-Star break, the last 2 years, he has gone 18-1 with a 1.66 ERA after the break. On top of that, in his career, after the All-Star break, his 1.79 ERA is the best of all time for a pitcher that's thrown at least 230 innings post-All-Star break.
Maybe that's the reason why Dave Roberts told us that he doesn't think that the Dodgers have played their best baseball yet. He might be onto something, right? He's got second half Julio.
Come on, Brandon.
Reyes and Brandon Nimmo, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And Nimmo takes a pitch right down the middle, and the Mets don't score in the bottom of the 5th. So no runs for the Mets. So Peterson is coming into the ball game, so he'll probably give up about 5 runs, because everybody all of a sudden wants Peterson into the ball game. Who would you rather have, Verlander or Peterson on the mound in that last inning? Peterson would give up a grand slam because he's another terrible pitcher. But Quintana's back, so that's why Peterson is in the bullpen. So Peterson's going to get probably a couple of innings here. Might get 5 innings. 4 innings. You never know. So the Mets trail 3-0. Not an insurmountable deficit, but the way the Mets are going, I think, on 25 innings now of scoring 1 run from the second game of the Padres series. They scored 1 in the second game, 0 in the third game against the Padres, and they scored none through 5 this game. Yeah, Sergeant, but who are you going to bring in? Jeff Brigham? You're not bringing in Rayleigh. You're not bringing in Ottavino. You're not bringing in Robertson. Drew Smith? You need length. There's no point in using the better arms in your bullpen. You got to trust Peterson in this spot. He'll give you a couple of innings. That's basically it. So, going to the top of the 6th, 3-0 Dodgers. The Mets offense over the last 3 games. I know it's been a break with the All-Star break, but they haven't scored a lot of runs in the last 3 games. Yeah, Joe, I think we still have Leon. But again, you want Leon in? I mean, he hasn't been good over the last 2 weeks either. So, you basically, would you rather have a tired Verlander or a David Peterson that nobody liked? All of a sudden, people wanted Peterson in the ballgame. I'm getting messages, they should have brought Peterson in the game. Now everybody wants Peterson into the game when they couldn't stand him 3 weeks ago. It makes no sense. Yeah, but Sergeant, again, who are you going to put in? Again, Brigham and Dominic Leone can do the exact same thing Peterson can do. Can be good or very bad. Either way, I'd rather use Peterson in this spot because at the very least, if the Mets don't score, you're not wasting your bullpen out of a break when you still got 2 more games to go.
A couple of years ago, I think the Mets had really visions of Peterson being a very important part.
But Joseph, how are they right?
Consistency with the strike zone. She touched on way this
Like, what doesn't make sense is that people did not want Peterson anywhere near the mound for the Mets. Now everybody would rather have Peterson in the game over Verlander, who was pitching well. Even though he gave up walks, I trust Verlander more than I trust David Peterson. Okay, to you, it's the obvious ones. Robertson, Tommy Pham, maybe Mark Canha. Because Flexen has like an 8 ERA. And it wasn't about Flexen. It was about Gott. So
Just missed still full count. Mike McClure on the New York Post. Great look back championship series between the Mets and the Dodgers, a 7-game series. There's 1-4 to JD Martinez. Dodgers have a surprise entrant in the postseason that year. They won the National League West. Hershiser had the incredible scoreless streak. And was a dominant pitcher for the Dodgers that year, but the Mets still had all that 86 swagger to them. They had just won the championship a couple of years before. They won 100 games in 1988.
Well, Peterson walked the batter, so that's what you get from Peterson. Another guy who can't throw strikes.
A dynasty in the making, and the Dodgers had other ideas.
Joseph, I agree. That's what I'm saying. Like, everybody wanted Peterson in the ball game. Like, he would have done the same exact thing as Verlander. Like, I mean, come on.
Over the course of time, look back at the 2016 Chicago Cubs, right? They won it all. They looked like they were young. They had started pitching. They hit a home run with all their position players. And it's amazing, Wayne, how a couple things can go wrong. A couple of injuries. Guys don't live up to expectations. Guys don't get better that you assume would get better. And you look back at some of those 86, 87, 88 Mets teams, and just what a collection of talent that they had on the mound, like Dwight Gooden, Darryl Strawberry. I mean, it was like they had just good players all the way around. And then I think
And he strikes out. The batter went out.
You start pressing, and it's so hard. I think particularly now to be competitive year after year after year, unless one, you have a lot of money you can afford to spend, or two, you better have a deep farm system that can keep churning over players, and more importantly, developing your own pitchers.
On the way as Peterson strikes out David Brault, and now another lefty is Jason Hayward comes up empty. Ron Darling was quoted to say that the difference in losing that series was trying to cement themselves as one of the greatest teams of all time instead of just having one of the greatest seasons of all time. 1986 was. These two teams have been a lot in the postseason over the years. 2015, the Mets beat the Dodgers in the National League Division Series. 2006 as well. That entirely makes up for what happened between these two teams in 1988 as the Dodgers went on their way to win it all.
You know, the difference in the way the game has changed from 88 to 2023. You can look back and single-handedly say Orel Hershiser was the most important cog in the Dodgers winning that World Championship. And I don't know in today's game that you'd see a guy start 2 games, come out of the bullpen.
Should be a double play ball. And it is. Ooh, I don't know about that. That was close. See if they're going to check it. So he was safe by a step at first. So 2 outs, 1 on. Oof, just got there.
One of the things that Hayward still does, he runs well. Coming out the left side of the box, too, it gives him about a half a step advantage, and clearly beats that by about a half a step.
2 outs here is out made a walk both times against Verlander. Peterson pumps in a strike.
You go back and look at those Mets teams, 86, 87, 88. Dwight Gooden, Sid Fernandez, Bob Ojeda. Roger McDowell was a big piece coming out of the bullpen with that power sinker. Jesse Orosco.
Orosco actually ended up on the Dodgers in 88. He was pitching out of the Dodger bullpen that year. He got the final out for the 1986 championship team. He got some big outs for LA against the Mets a couple of years later in the playoffs.
And that is a base hit. And it'll be first and second with 2 outs.
Mets were just an out away from taking a 3-1 lead in that NLCS in 1988. They had Doc on the mound in the 9th inning. It was Mike Scioscia, Dodger catcher, wasn't known for a lot of power, punching one out, giving the Dodgers new life in Game 4 of the NLCS. Big home run by Scioscia off of Doc. Made Tommy happy. Didn't make the folks here in Queens very happy as the Mets settled for just a division title in 1988.
Looking through that clip, interesting. It's always seemed like Mickey catcher was always in the middle of something too. The Dodgers back then, right? Coming off the bench.
Yeah, committee. They're very strict with that. So 2 outs, 2 on. 3-0 Dodgers in the bottom of the 5th. Excuse me, top of the 6th.
Last time they won a world championship over the course of a full season, they were the 2020.
I don't know, Frank. We have a nice core of talented young players. Can you name more than one?
They believe they're plenty good enough to get back this year. Miguel Rojas, who has taken on more responsibility than he thought he would coming in due to the injury to Gavin Lux. Plenty of injuries to go around the Dodgers this year. Rojas is filled in as pretty much an everyday shortstop. Lux out.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next couple of weeks at the All-Star game. The talk would be the Dodgers going to be involved in trade discussions. Would they be a possible suitor for Shohei Ohtani? It would be interesting to see what the Angels decide to do with Ohtani. They decide whether they're going to try to keep him, see if they can put something together here. It's going to be difficult with Mike Trout on the IL for the next several weeks. But if you're looking for a package of players, if you want to get something back, you'd be hard-pressed to find an organization that has more prospects, both pitching and position player-wise, than the Dodgers do.
Two balls and a strike on Rojas, who walked and scored in the 5th. Verlander walked 3 in a row. They all came back around to score. He Mets. Freddie Freeman, as you'd expect, driven in all 3 runs for the Dodgers. Mets on deck with Peterson made day trip loading the bases again. Behind 3 balls and a strike. Rojas is alive.
And that's a base hit.
Hayward is being waved off. Starling Marte is a good arm. Throw to the plate is caught. Now Mets is stuck where their Rojas is up between first and second.
And there you go. And the runner's out. The end of the game, but they get a run. So 4-0 Dodgers going to the bottom of the 6th. All right, guys. So 4-0 Dodgers going to the bottom of the 6th. Mets have 1 hit. Dodgers have 4 hits. And because this stupid game, alrighty, guys. So let's see if the Mets actually show a pulse offensively. And just for Ken, who is actually listening, because he is blocked for some reason on the channel, I can't unblock him. I tried the first time, it worked for 2 days, and then he got blocked again. I don't know what's going on. And there's a few other people that are blocked on the channel, and I can't figure it out either. I'd rather have Ken on the channel complaining about everything, and we can have an argument instead of texting and arguing. So, unfortunately, Peterson is also a bum. So everybody who wanted Peterson in, I guarantee Peterson would have given up 6 runs instead of the 3 that Verlander gave up. That's the instant, the Monday morning quarterback people who always want to do that. So. So let's see if the Mets can find a way to get something going. Tommy Pham leading off. 4-0 Dodgers.
Installed outside the Citfield entrance. You can check it out on your way in from the subway, right?
Home run apple out there. We're gonna talk about the apple or apple. Let's talk about the apple. TV Plus, Friday Night Baseball, the apple here at City Field. Mets fans are hoping to see a couple times tonight. We've only seen one hit. Tommy Pham, a fly ball right center field as Hayward moves over to handle that. Julio Reyes has kept that apple right in his box so far tonight.
Yeah, if you're ever in the New York metro area, you really should try to take a game in here at City Field. This is a beautiful ballpark. Has all the amenities, a gigantic scoreboard in center field. Just a wonderful place. Acoustics are great. It's a great place for a fan to watch.
Lindor is up. 1 out in the 6th.
Terrific ballpark. By the way, the food's pretty good. Yeah, very shade rich. Long inning, you were going to make a run out there in center field.
He's out there right now.
Oh, man.
Shake Shack. He's making a good run right now, I would imagine.
Yeah, I was thinking of getting a shake over here at Shake Shack behind me, but you guys might also notice this scoreboard that they appreciated Wayne on earlier. It is the largest scoreboard in Major League
In the
Baseball.
world.
Yeah, Steve Cohen was watching a game from Sweet last year. He said, our scoreboard's not big enough. I want it bigger. In fact, I want the biggest scoreboard in MLB. It is 17,000 square feet, and yet it looks pretty big. And guys, it's two-sided. So while I was in the Shake Shack line getting my shake, I could watch the game on the scoreboard. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you, buddy.
And Lindor strikes out. 2 outs.
Really, Steve Cohen wants the game from the suite in Connecticut.
Well, BX, I said that before the game started.
Boy, another terrific pitch.
Doesn't matter who the lefty is. The Mets struggle against lefties. Alvarez bats like 200 against lefties. Lindor is usually pretty good, obviously, against lefties, but nobody's been good today. Well, we're going on, what, 25 innings over the last 3 games? 1 run. Christina, you know how many Met fans will probably have heart attacks if the Mets win the World Series?
Here's a 20-game winner a couple of years ago. Last year, the National League leader in ERA. He was 3rd in Cy Young voting last season behind Sandy Alcantara and Max Fried. He's allowed 1 hit tonight to the first batter he faced. Brandon Nimmo nearly hit it out.
He just has a terrific feel for pitching. That last pitch was one of the few change-ups he's thrown into a terrific one to Pete Alonso. He gets some count leverage now at 0-2.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Alonso has popped out. He is walked. Henson had a rough go this year. Certainly not near the expectations.
Yeah, I know, Christina. I wouldn't know what to do with myself, to be honest with you.
The talks will be about trades. Not trading that guy, that's for sure.
Figure out that guy's cell phone. Maybe he can bring us back one of those burgers from Shake Shack out there, right?
And Alonso strikes out. And the Mets don't score in the bottom of the 6th. So top of the 7th, 4-0 Dodgers. So, unfortunately for the Mets, the offense has been completely stagnant over the last 3 games. Scored 1 run in the last 3 games. And, yeah, I mean, you can't win if you don't score. That's very simple. So, Ryan, can you stop, please? Ryan, stop talking about Alonso. You're wasting your breath. All right? You are. You really are. Adam, are you serious? Because that same old pitcher was who the Dodgers traded for. And the Dodgers were in on Scherzer at the last minute. So let's not act like the Dodgers weren't trying to sign Scherzer 2 years ago. Come on. Like, let's be real. Let's be real. Let's be real. Come on. Like, let's not act like the Dodgers weren't trying to sign Scherzer in 2021 into 2022 offseason, into the offseason. They were. Let's not act like they weren't trying to get him. Adam, I didn't say you didn't want him. I can care less what you wanted. Your team was on the verge of signing Scherzer before the Mets came in. So let's not act like they weren't the favorites and nearly going to get him until Steve Cohen came in and gave him a better offer. Were giving him a lot of money. I understand that. But a 1-year deal and a 2-year deal wasn't much. A 3-year deal, that's fine. But they also offered him a ton of money. Like, let's not act like you didn't want him. That 1-year deal would have been a disaster as well. So, yeah, JL, exactly. JV was – the Braves were actually looking to get Justin Verlander. So, and let's not act like the Mets were the only team going in on the 2 top starters that were on board, that were the free agents. Let's not act like other teams weren't doing it. Yeah, the Mets tried to get Trevor Bauer, and the Dodgers signed him. So, exactly, easy, exactly. So, come on. Like, it does go both ways, like Easy said. No, Adam, I agree with that. Obviously, that's what they're doing. But let's not act like they weren't going after Scherzer. So let's not act like they weren't going after a 38-year-old and a 39-year-old. Like, let's be honest, they were. So Trevor Gott is in the game for the Mets. But it doesn't matter if it was a 1-year deal. The point of the matter is they were trying for Scherzer at the exact same time when the Mets were. That's basically it. The Mets came with a better offer. That's it. Let's not act like the Dodgers were staying away and saying, I don't want a 38-year-old when they wanted a 38-year-old. Well, the Mets, see, that's the problem that nobody understands. Adam, I agree with you. You're not listening. I said that. The Mets came with a better offer. But let's not act like they didn't want a 38-year-old when they did. But let's be honest. The Mets had no choice but to sign pitchers like that. They had nobody. The Dodgers can afford to not get Scherzer. Right? They didn't have to offer Scherzer 3 years because they got arms in the system. Look at all the injuries they had. The Mets don't have that at the moment when they signed Scherzer and even Verlander. And that's a shot, but it's going foul. And that's the problem. Like, the Mets took a chance on spending money because their farm system is in shambles. They had no pitching that was available over the last 2 years in their farm system to be ready in this rotation. So they had to spend the money. So all the people that think that it was terrible signings, it's not like the Mets were holding back great arms in their farm system in the rotation because they weren't. That's what they had to do. They went with the best available. They tried to sign Kevin Gausman. Kevin Gausman took a better deal from the Blue Jays, right? Wheeler, Cohen wasn't here. It was the Wilpons. That sucked. And Freeman strikes out. Well, yeah, committee, but again, let's not act like Max and JV weren't going to get very similar deals. It might have been a little less, but they were going to get money from other people. Like, if the Mets didn't pay that much. The Mets overpaid, that's fine. And the Giants are winning, which is not helping the Mets. Pittsburgh can't play defense, so that doesn't work for the Mets. No, Todd, it was Steve. Right? You heard Scherzer and you heard Verlander in their press conference once they signed. They talked about Steve Cohen being the factor. So it was him. But again, it's not like, I like how people, like, was anybody banging on the door saying, let's sign Nathan Eovaldi, even though he's having a good year with Texas? Nobody was trying to do that, right? I mean, who did you want nobody complained about Justin Verlander or Scherzer signing. Don't act like you did, because you didn't. I mean, Kevin Gausman, has he been very good? Not really. He's been just as bad as the other two guys. Yeah, but Adam, where are they going to go? Again, they didn't have the Dodgers farm system for pitchers. They didn't have nowhere to go in pitching. They had no pitchers ready to go over the last 2 years. Easy, stop it. Come on. Not as an ace. Let's be honest. Nobody wanted Nathan Eovaldi to be the ace of the staff. You would have been laughed at. Come on. Now, as your third or fourth starter, yeah, no problem. But nobody wanted Nathan Eovaldi over Justin Verlander. Come on. That's a joke. So don't act like you did, Easy. Come on. Maybe as your third or fourth starter, maybe you said, oh, let's get Eovaldi over Senga. Maybe we could have had a conversation. But nobody was like, oh, let's not get Cy Young Award winner Justin Verlander and let's get Eovaldi. Come on. Well, yeah, Adam, and that takes time, as you well know. You know, again, the Mets just brought up another kid from Double-A. Brought him up to Double-A now. I think his name is Stewart, who's in Double-A now. And also Vazel is already there. And that should end the inning. And it does. So top of the seventh is over, 4-0 Dodgers. So, yeah, you know, Mike Vazel is now in Triple-A. He should be a part of this rotation next year, hopefully, right? The guy, they just brought the kid up from Single A to Double-A, who has the best numbers in all of the minor leagues in Single A, and now is with Double-A. I think he had a 1.39 ERA. He's looking good. So if he trends upwards, who knows? He might get an opportunity to be a part of this rotation. The Mets need that, but that takes time. That's why the people who don't actually have to think about anything, they're like, oh, why did the Mets spend all this money on pitching? Well, who was going to pitch? If the Mets didn't sign Justin Verlander and say they would have signed Taijuan Walker. Taijuan Walker has what, a 3, basically what he normally is. I think he's closer to a 4 ERA than a 3.5 ERA what he had with the Mets. So he has a worse ERA than Justin Verlander. So he hasn't really pitched better. So what is it? Like, yeah, you wanted to get Nathan Eovaldi? Absolutely, no problem. But let's not act like we were going to put Nathan Eovaldi as our ace of the staff or our number 2. That's not what he was. He's having a really good season. But let's not act like the big signing for the Rangers was Nathan Eovaldi. It was Jacob deGrom, right? If Nathan Eovaldi was so important at that moment in the offseason, they would have signed Jacob deGrom. ERA, I believe, is around, I think it's just over 4, if I'm not mistaken. Record, I don't care about. Wins-loss record for a starter means nothing anymore nowadays. Yeah, I agree. They overpaid, but I don't think they had much choice. Like, I know that I laugh at the Mets fans that said, oh, please bring back Chris Bassett. Nobody wanted Chris Bassett after the playoffs. Don't act like you did, because nobody wanted him back. Even after he even said how difficult it was, he basically mentally screwed himself prior to the game 3 of the playoff series against the Padres, when he said that it's so hard to pitch in New York. The pressure is very hard. It's not easy. He said that. And then he actually mentally destroyed himself before the game. Yeah, Todd, I'm not saying Eovaldi wasn't a good pitcher. He is, but let's not act like we were wanting him to be our number 2 starter, because that's what he would have been. Ryan, yeah, I agree. But again, that takes years to develop those starters. The Braves didn't just draft him and then they brought him up the next year. All right? It takes a couple of years to build up starters throughout your minor league system. Verlander has a 3.6 ERA. Now, it went up a little bit. But again, he has a 3.6 ERA and he missed a month. And that's a ground ball, should be 1 out. And it is.
Yeah, the secondary pitch is from Urias. See the 4-seam fastball. Look at the outs. He was able to get a couple outs with that cutter, the changeup, and the slurve.
But that 3.6 ERA from Verlander was a 5 ERA the first month he came back. So he got a full run and a half down from what he was. So that means he pitched well. He didn't pitch well today, but let's not act like he pitched bad. He pitched well over the last month. Just like Scherzer, basically, who dropped the full run in his ERA. Yeah, they haven't been what they should be. But the pitching has been a huge problem with the Mets.
Infielders getting used first time today with that Marte bouncing. Now McNeil like count 1 ball, 1 strike against Almonte. The Dodger bullpen for a time there wasn't quite the same as it had been lately. The last 18 games, they've been a whole lot better. 2.25 ERA. They've only given up 1 home run collectively over the last 36 innings they've pitched.
You know, it's just like hitting and teams who in the slumps. I think the same thing happens with bullpen.
So Almonte, really good reliever for the Dodgers.
Really well. It all really stems to your high leverage guys. If they're pitching well in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, it kind of turns into one of those you want to keep the line moving. What they've been able to do too, you touched on it, way they've been throwing a lot of strikes. There's not as much swing and miss in this bullpen as they've had in the past, but they still have some big power arms.
Balls, 2 strikes on McNeil. Kevin Phillips has blossomed and back in some games for the Dodgers. Dave Roberts with a line that Phillips didn't make the All-Star team, thought he deserved to. Full count now on McNeil. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Oh, that was ball 4. Well, that was a very generous call with 2 outs. Well, when it rains, it pours, ladies and gentlemen. That wasn't even close. Yeah, that was low. Good frame job by Smith there. 2 outs.
2 down for Almonte. Now Francisco Alvarez 0 for 2. Mets have only managed 1 hit tonight.
And popped up, but foul. Easy, he's not a mystery. I'm sorry. I don't think McNeil is that good. He's very inconsistent. One year good, 1 year bad. 1 year good, 1 year bad. Should have traded them in the 2021 offseason, like I said, when everybody killed me after last year. Oh, look, you're wrong about McNeil. No, I'm not. Because if he doesn't bat 300, he's a useless player. All right, 3 outs. So 0 runs through 7 innings for the Mets. Ryan, and what would stop the Mets for doing that too? Right? I think he's going to the Dodgers. I agree with you there. I don't think he's getting 10 years, Adam. I don't think he's getting 10 years. He might. Like I said, I don't think if – well, yeah, if the Dodgers trade for Ohtani and they get him, he ain't leaving. That's obvious. But I don't believe Ohtani is going to sign a deal once he gets traded. I think he's going to test free agency. Why wouldn't you? Why would you sign a deal – even if they give him 10 years, $520 million, he's got a richest owner in baseball that will go to $600 million. I think Cohen is that insane. He would do that. I don't think anybody would outbid Steve Cohen. It's just a matter of, does Ohtani want to come to New York? That's just me. No, Adam, he said that once he came to the major leagues. Nobody's heard anything since. Everybody assumes he wants the West Coast still. Nobody knows that. He's never said that since he signed with the Angels. When he was going through the process of coming to Japan, he didn't take a meeting with an East Coast team. That was true. He said that out loud when he came from Japan to Major League Baseball to interview with other teams. He didn't take East Coast meetings. Now, over the last couple of years, nobody knows what he wants. And again, he wants to be on the winning team. And obviously, all he has to do is live in the same home and go to the National League, to LA, to the Dodgers. But Yeah. Yeah, okay, he loves California weather. That's fine. But yeah, oh yeah, I got. Well, I don't believe the Padres are going to be in on him. I'm gonna tell you that right now, Adam. Honestly, I think the Padres they're what they always are. They sign all these. They've done this many years ago with different owners as well. They'll sign a couple of big time players for big money. It doesn't work out, and they start trading guys all over the place after 2 years. They do it all the time in their league, in their team history. Right? Go back to 2015, 2016. Right? They did that also. The Justin Uptons of the world. They started to sign big contracts. Didn't work out 2 years in a row, and then they started to trade off people. The Padres ain't getting no time. I'll tell you that right now. I think it's going to come down to the Dodgers and the Mets. If the I truly believe. What did the Braves do? Yeah, I know the Padres are a joke. I mean, they're just as bad as the Mets. And again, there's a possibility that the number 1, 2, 3 teams in payroll, the Mets, the Padres, and the Yankees, might not make the playoffs. That's insane. Giants could be a sleeper, but I don't think they're going to I don't think they're going to be the biggest bidder. I think if it's up to the 2 West Coast teams, I think the Dodgers would give more money. But I'm telling you this right now, if Ohtani gets the free agency, which I think he will, I don't care where he gets traded, I don't think he's not going to attempt free agency and see how much he actually can get. Because it'd be stupid not to attempt free agency. I do think if he tests free agency, Cohen's going to give the biggest offer. It's just a matter of does Ohtani want to come to the East Coast. If he does, he'll be a Met. But I don't think so. Yeah, but JL, he might still because the Mets are going to have about 85 to, I think it's close to $90 million coming off the payroll after this year. The Cano contract, the Canna, Escobar, Carrasco, Quintana, right there. That's $75 million. That's $70 million right there. And who knows what else the Mets might also. Let's see who else I'm trying to think of other guys too. Oh, Robinson is another $10 million. They're gonna have close to $100 million off of payroll. So their payroll's already gonna get down to like $240 million by the end of the year. So I did it during the off season when somebody asked to do it. I think it was around $120 million coming off the books after this season. So they're going right back to where basically the Dodgers are in payroll, right? They're going to be around $220, $230 million. Obviously, arbitration is going to raise that a little bit from certain players. But Quintana, Carrasco, Canna, Escobar, Pham, Vogelback, all of that is close to like $110 million. Yeah, exactly. Oh, that might be gone. Goodbye, home run, JD Martinez. That is 5-0 Dodgers. Opposite field home run for JD Martinez. Yeah, easy, exactly. I mean, the Mets would have had a $400 million payroll if they signed Correa. So 5-0. Might as well just put more open up that wound a little bit more. Add some salt to that wound. Might as well. 5-0. Right wing, there's been talk about that. Yeah, Ryan, I don't think the Yankees they're not gonna outbid anybody. The Padres don't even bother with the Giant. The Padres are not gonna do it. They're gonna trade Soto and they're gonna trade Josh Hader. I'm telling you right now, the Padres are. They always do it throughout their history. They spend a lot of money for 2 years, maybe 3, and then they start trading off people. That's what the Padres always done in their history. Yeah, Adam, that was a good move by the Dodgers. Sometimes the small moves pays off. I don't think I think the Giants have more of a chance than the Yankees. Soto's not a free agent until after next season. Yeah, I see the Angels keeping him, but I think Ohtani wants to win, and I think he's talking to Trout, and I think Trout's in his ears saying it's pointless because you're probably not going to win here.
In Toronto tonight, they are losing 6-2 as that game's in the 7th inning at Rogers Center. Strike to Hayward's. Dodgers by the end of the night could be back on top all by themselves. The National League West, a familiar place. A team that has won their division 9 out of the last 10 years.
Yeah, a couple of weeks down the road, we're going to get a look at the Blue Jays on Friday night in Toronto. I think they're another one of those teams that their best bets loss in front of them too.
Jason Hayward.
All right, so that ends the top of the 8th, but not before they add an extra run. JD Martinez opposite field home run. 5-0 Dodgers going to the bottom of the 8th. Mets got 2 more chances to figure out a way to look like they're actually a baseball team and maybe come back in this ball game. Yes, that was a joke. We'll see. Mark, again, no. Cohen already said he's not firing Billy Epler or Buck Showalter. Again, if you believe that that's going to change something, you just that's not baseball. Rob Thompson was an anomaly with firing Joe Girardi. That doesn't happen. That happens once in a blue moon, right? Usually when you fire a manager, yeah, you might get a spark for a week, and then after that, you turn back to the same bad team you were, right? Yeah, Patriots, I mean, honestly, right? They had an opportunity in the first inning with a leadoff double from Nimmo to score some early runs to give Verlander a lead. You know, Verlander had to be perfect because the Mets couldn't score. I mean, how many more times you want to ask the Mets pitcher to be perfect because the offense didn't do their job? No, easy. That's what I'm saying. They're not. I mean, look at their averages. Max Muncy is batting 192, and he's batting, what, 5th in the lineup? I mean, that's crazy. Yeah, isn't that Sasaki? Isn't that the pitcher that threw like 103 miles an hour or something like that? BX, well, yeah. Well, I don't know if Billy Epler is going to get fired. You got to remember, David Stern is probably going to be the president of baseball operations, and Cohen's going to let him do whatever. You know, again, my biggest problem is everybody's, you know, they're going to fire. If they do fire Buck, I can't wait for David Stearns to hire Craig Counsell, and then everybody's going to tell you that's a good hire to hire Craig Counsell. What has he done with the Brewers? Nothing. All right, so that's what we're going to do. Great. Let's everybody going to say that's a good deal, and then that's what's going to happen. Well, Adam, absolutely. Absolutely. Again, look, well-run organizations, and again, there was about 95% of Dodger fans prior to 2020 who wanted Dave Roberts fired again and again and again, just like they wanted Don Mattingly fired again and again and again, right? I do think the luck of the draw with the 2020 pandemic season, the shortened season, helped the Dodgers win a World Series because, let's be honest, the Dodgers, as great as they have been, winning divisions, winning 100-plus games, seems like every year, and that should be one out, and it is. They've failed to win a World Series. They haven't won since, 88 prior to 2020? So let's not act like they've been a great organization winning championships because they haven't. But they started to be a consistent franchise. They kept their manager. They trusted their manager in Dave Roberts, even though I don't think he's a good manager. They trusted it. Consistency matters. When I talk about consistency, and I'll put it on mute for a second. Consistency matters. The Yankees, how many Yankee fans wanted Aaron Boone fired, right? People wanted Joe Torre fired before he started to win championships, right? People wanted Terry Collins fired before they went on that 2015 run. Yeah, well, Adam, that's what I'm saying. But consistency matters in organizations. That goes from the GM to the coaching staff. You don't just fire people just like that and expect a new person to come in and just make it work. Sometimes consistency matters. It paid off in 2020, even though I don't think that's a real championship. It paid off for them at some point with Dave Roberts. We're not firing him and having consistency. That matters in the clubhouse. That matters in an organization. There's a reason why the Yankees make the playoffs every year, because they don't fire a manager and GMs willy-nilly, right? The same thing goes for a team like the Braves. They don't just fire managers. They keep their managers for long periods of time. They give them a chance to turn it around. Firing GMs and firing managers every other year or every 2 years is a recipe for disaster, and that people don't realize that. Right? There's a reason why the Knicks have been an absolute disaster for 20 years. The same thing goes for the Jets. Consistency matters, especially in sports. Yeah, well, Frank, tell everybody else that. Because if everybody believes, look, Buck has not had a good year. I've said that over and over again. But let's not act like Buck is not the main reason. Buck is the main reason why this team is losing. How about the rotation being an absolute shitstorm, and Alonso hitting 200, Marte being a complete disaster, McNeil being a disaster, right? Lindor has proven that he's basically the best player on his team right now with VENMO. Other than that, it's been a disaster on this team. The bullpen hasn't been great. Has Buck been a problem? Yeah, but he's not the main problem. You got a lot of 200 hitters that should be batting 250, 260 and not doing their jobs. Same with the rotation. The first month and a half, the Mets did not have a starter go 6 innings. That's a problem. The Yankees playing the Rockies. And, for everybody who thinks that the hitting coach that got fired for Sean Casey, the Yankees are losing 3-2 to the Rockies, and they have 2 runs in Colorado through 4 innings. So, for everybody who thinks the hitting coach matters, it doesn't, all right? He didn't bring no energy last year, and the Mets won 101 games. Can we stop blaming the manager when, yeah, Buck hasn't been good this year, but is that preventing Alonso from batting 250? Is that preventing any starter for the Mets not going 6 innings for the first month and a half? Is it Buck's fault that Marte can't hit a baseball? Is it Buck's fault that Scherzer keeps on giving up leads? Is it Buck's fault that McGill and Peterson was a dumpster fire? No. Now, he's made bad decisions, absolutely. And, for everybody who wants a manager to argue every single time when things go wrong, look at the Yankees. What have the Yankees won when Aaron Boone gets thrown out every other game? It means nothing. Like, if it meant the Mets would win a World Series, if Buck Showalter would argue with an umpire and come out and get thrown out of the game every single day, then do it. Then we can fight. But let's not act like that's happening, right? The Houston Astros won the World Series with Dusty Baker, who everybody said is a bad manager because he couldn't get this team over the hump. All of a sudden, but Dusty Baker's a great manager? Come on, guys. Let's be honest. Could we be real? Be honest with yourselves and make sure you understand all of a sudden Dusty Baker's a great manager when he got criticized for being a terrible playoff manager with the Giants and with the Cubs. And all of a sudden he's a great manager because he won a World Series with the Red Sox, with the Astros? Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, Joe, I'm not surprised. I mean, that's not groundbreaking. I mean, shouldn't we be shouting at strike 3 to end the inning? 5-0 Dodgers going to the top of the ninth. And yeah, okay. So Sean Casey's the new hitting coach for the Yankees. The Yankees have 2 runs in Colorado and are losing 4-2. Because God knows, I tell you right now, the Yankees would have scored 10 runs today, win the ball game, and everybody was like, "Oh, the Mets should have fired their hitting coach. Look what the Yankees did." Yet nobody would bring up the argument that they're playing in Colorado. How about the players just suck? How about that? Right? Everybody wants somebody to blame other than the players. Right? All I heard for 2 months, they got to fire Buck Showalter. They got to fire Buck Showalter. If you believe that Buck Showalter is the main problem. If that's the case, then Epler should be fired for not doing that. And Steve Cohen should get criticized for not firing Buck Showalter because clearly they see what's going on in the clubhouse. If Buck Showalter lost his clubhouse, which players came out and said they didn't look, players are not afraid to say something to the media. If Buck lost the clubhouse, players would have said it. It would have got leaked out. So if Buck Showalter didn't lose the clubhouse, then it's clearly on the players. Now, has Buck been a great manager this year? Absolutely not. He's been far from what he was last year. But let's not act like the Mets are 6 games under 500, possibly 7 games after tonight, because Buck Showalter is the main reason. If you believe that, you are very naive and you're very easy manipulative. Like, let's be honest. Like I can sell you water, in an ocean. Like basically that's the way it is. And speaking of the Yankees, since people are bringing up the Yankees and Stan and Rizzo and LeMahieu and all those guys, the Yankees are just in a better spot as the Mets, even though the Mets actually have some young kids coming up through their system. The Mets have guys actually showing up in their farm system, Nimmo, Alonso, McNeil, Beatty, Alvarez, besides Volpe. And he hasn't really shown a lot. Justin Dominguez is hitting like 200 in AAA, excuse me. He's been terrible in minor leagues. Yankees don't really have a good farm system. They have nobody coming up, so they have a very old team as well. I think the Mets and Yankees are 1-2 in average age of a team. So everybody's favorite Drew Smith is in the game in the top of the ninth. Mets are losing 5-0.
Standing behind Dino Evil right now, the third base coach. Some groundskeeper trying to chase it around in the bucket. I don't know if there was a
well, LRF, and that's why it's amazing to me that teams still trade with the Yankees, because there's been one player over the last 10 years that the Yankees traded away, a prospect, for whoever they traded him for, that has actually panned out in the majors, and that is Duran, the pitcher that was traded to the Rangers for Joey Gallo last year or 2 years ago. That's the only player that actually has been sustainable on a major league roster. So the Yankees find a way to hype their prospects and make people believe them, and then you have reporters basically kissing the Yankees' ass and saying how good these prospects are, and they fall out in a few years. So if you're a baseball team that trades with the Yankees and take their prospects, you're an idiot and you should be fired the next day, because you keep on seeing the Yankees trading prospects and they don't work out at all. So stop trading with the Yankees. At least the Mets, who make trades, their prospects, a lot of them actually work out, or at least are major leaguers.
Rotation coming from Japan, so they try to space it out. Then you got Verlander and Scherzer. Then you're trying to, buy them as much real estate as you can between starts.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
Left the Mets for about 10 days shorthanded.
and that should be. Oh, that's a nice play. Oh, he dropped it. Marte drops it, and he gets to second base, and it's just this game is basically the Mets season.
Pretty good play there by Marte. He's playing deep.
Marte last year will make that catch. This year he didn't.
Jam shot. As that sound is looping liner, gets a pretty good head start on it. It'd be a difficult play as an outfielder. You start your slide in.
Oh, hit the heel of his glove.
Play that normally he would make.
Yeah, I agree, committee. No, Sergeant, I really do hope Marte is actually playing through an injury. I think that core issue, that surgery, I think it's a major problem with him this year. I truly believe that, because I don't think he just fell off the face. Oh, that's gone. Oh, no, it's not. Sorry, 2 outs. 1 out, excuse me. Frank, look, why are we trading players that have no value? That's stupid. You're not getting nothing for them. You're going to pay Marte's contract to get nothing. That makes no sense. You'd rather keep him and pray he comes back next year and plays well. There's no point in trading Marte because you're paying him. You're going to pay him at his lowest to get nothing back for him. Again, you got to make sense of it. You're trading Robertson because you can get a top prospect back. You're trading Pham because you probably can get a top 20 prospect back, maybe even top 10 prospect back. So that falls in. Again, you don't trade players at their lowest. You know, Escobar became valuable to the Angels for getting 2 prospects for Escobar because Escobar turned out to be a very good utility guy. And that's what the Angels needed. And after their Gio Urshela was out for the year, they needed a third baseman. So that the Mets got 2 prospects to put in their farm system, and one of those guys ended up being in their top 20. So, you know, I don't think they might trade. You know, for Canna, you'll get a lower level prospect, but it builds up your farm system. Really, I think you can actually, because remember you got him for another year. You might be able to get a top 15 prospect, maybe even top 20. Because even Robinson last year was having a year like Raley last year, and you got the Cubs got a top 5 prospect for Robinson last year. You might get a top 10, top 15 prospect for Raley. Bullpen arms are very valuable. Shoot, I'll even trade Ottavino if he gets us back a decent prospect. First and third, 1 out, 5-0 Dodgers, top 9. Yeah, easy. It sucks. You know, I actually thought the Mets are going to come out in this game and do well, to be honest. I felt that way. But again, they got a chance to win the next 2 games, at the very least. They take this series, you know, it's better than nothing, right? But now they have to win the next 2. Yeah, BX. Because Canna, actually, he's having a better season than Marte. He's actually been better defensively than Marte. He's been better offensively than Marte. Marte has shown you no signs of anything. The whole point of why you would get more for Canna is because Canna is on a deal that is expiring. Marte has 2 more years. You're not going to pay the contract of Marte and trade him away for nothing, for a lower level prospect that never makes the majors. Canna, you might get a AA minor leaguer. You're lucky if you get a rookie ball player for Marte, as bad as he's been. Marte, look, Canna can get you something back like Escobar did. Because Canna can play all 3. He's a utility guy who can play all 3 outfield positions. In an emergency, can play first base, and he's had a better year than Marte. Easy. I'm going to tell you right now. The Mets will win tomorrow, and it's going to come down to Scherzer's big game on Sunday to win a series. Go figure. It seems like it's been like that the entire season. When the Mets needed a big game, Scherzer has been on the mound. It's going to happen like that, buddy. You know it's going to happen like that. Dominic, of course they're going to take advantage of Steve Cohen's money the same way players took advantage of the Yankees for all those years. It's not like it never happened before. It's a revolving door. This is what happens. I wouldn't keep Canna. Why? He's on an expiring contract on a team that's not going nowhere. Get something for him. Yeah. Starting pitching and bullpen is going to be a major, big talking point at the deadline. And don't forget, guys, I'm going to be doing the day 24 hours before the trade deadline, 4 p.m., the day before the deadline, until I think it's 4 p.m., 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. whatever that time, the hour that the deadline ends, 3 p.m. or 4 p.m., I will be on for 24 hours on this channel the day before from 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. to the trade deadline, 3 p.m., 4 p.m. 24 straight hours. I know, it's crazy. I'm nuts, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to have guys on. 6 p.m. So I'm going to do, that's even better for me. 6 p.m. the night before the trade deadline till 6 p.m. deadline on August 1st. I'll be here. I'm going to have people on. I'm going to have Hayden, everybody, a lot of other guys on, and talk about the trade deadline and all that stuff, not just me. So it's going to be a lot. Yeah. Well, we'll probably hit him because the Mets actually hit Darvish, who they couldn't hit. And Drew Smith is doing Drew Smith stuff. Yay.
Consecutive seasons trying to make the postseason, similar to those Braves runs that they've had. Atlanta winning 14 straight division titles. The Yankees had the dynasty in the late 90s, early 2000s, but 13 consecutive postseason appearances. The Dodgers trying to make it 11, likely will make it 11.
Oh, boy.
It's difficult, and these Dodgers have made it look easy.
Well, the pitching was good because they still had Wheeler and Stroman and DeGrom. That's why they were good.
Offensive throwing in a game of baseball. They have a lot of good players. They've hit some home runs. J.D. Martinez has bounced back with a big year. Jason Hayward's played very well in right field. But with that said, this is really the first year, I feel, Wayne, in the last 7 to 8 years that the Dodgers are going to need to do something with the starting rotation and the deadline. I just think it's going to be hard for them to get to the World Series with the rotation that they currently have.
Ground ball, and then Lindor is going to get one out, and another run scores. That was going to be a hard to double up Will Smith. 6-0 Dodgers, 2 outs, first and third. No, they're not, Joe. No, he's not. He's back. He came back.
Smith has very good speed. He's a great athlete. He has become, as you said, one of the best all-around catchers in all of baseball, really rivaling JT Realmuto, the Phillies in that category. Next Muncy takes the ball. 3 bench relievers have given up a run. Only Trevor Gott did not. Peterson gave up a run in his 1 inning, so did Dominic Leone in the 8th. Now Drew Smith has here in the 9th inning. Dodgers are comfortably ahead. Tomorrow, Tony Gonsolin will pitch against Kodai Senga. With Scherzer and Verlander led rotation, with Senga being the all-star team.
Joe, and you know what? I think if the Mets would have scored that first run of the ball game, if that would have been a home run.
Looks like it's Senga tomorrow.
Yeah, again, people are obsessed with firing Buck. You know why people are obsessed with firing Buck? Not because it could change the season. No. They're firing Buck because they need something to talk about other than the players. Because people are afraid to blame the players. They have to blame everybody else before they blame the players. It's a talking point that will be in the news for 2 days. And then they'll start complaining about the players because you can't blame Buck anymore. Now you got to blame the players. Buck is the whipping boy right now because he's still the manager. That's it. If you fire Buck, you have nothing else to complain about. But you will find something that will be the players.
Shoulder is feeling good post-injection, but the medical staff doesn't want it to aggravate it. They're really playing the long game there. Walker Buehler, he is targeting an early September return from Tommy John. Dave Roberts said they're going to keep him as a starter, likely work him back where he starts like 3 innings and then builds up to 4 and 5 from there.
Yeah, Christopher. And you know, his song is the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme song. when I went to LA in 2021 with my dad, he came up and he actually plays the theme song. It's great. It's perfect. I love it. Yep. And you know what? I have a feeling he's going to be a Yankee, Bellinger. But then again, I think the Yankees are going to be they're going to trade for Bellinger. But I don't think the Yankees are making the playoffs either. To be honest with you, imagine both New York teams are not going to make the playoffs. The 1 and 2 in payroll. Lovely. No, easy. But my point is, they will blame everybody else, manager, GM, owner, before they blame them. Like they'll blame the player for having one bad game. And that is 6-0. Dodgers going to the bottom of the ninth. Last licks for the Mets. But that's the whole point. Again, look, people blame Lindor. Oh, look, he 0 for 4. He's batting 200. Yet he has the most home runs and most RBIs by a shortstop. And yeah, the average should be better, absolutely. But they were blaming Lindor for game. They blame players for individual games, but won't blame the players for an entire season. So they got to blame the GM, the manager, the owner, right? That's just the way it is. And then when those guys get fired, fans don't know what to do with themselves after day 3 when that news, when the top headlines are Buck is fired for 2 days and everybody gets to talk about it and say, I told you so. And then the team still sucks. And then all of a sudden, let's blame the players. That's the problem. What didn't the 2017? The Yankees didn't make the playoffs. Oh no, I'm sorry, not 2017. 2016. No, the Mets made the playoffs. You're right. Wow, yeah, that's a good question. I don't remember that. No, committee, and again, no, he's not. But he's one of the guys. He is a guy that, look, Pete Alonso should be able to carry this team with his offense. He's not, right? Lindor is gonna piggyback off of Alonso carrying a team. It's just obvious. Lindor's having, other than Nimmo, Nimmo's having Nimmo has been struggling as of late, but Nimmo has been probably their best offensive player. Basically all around. Lindor is probably a very close second. Yeah, I wanted Chris Bryant as well. I'm not gonna lie. But again, he's in oblivion. Like, he doesn't have to perform in Colorado. So that's the way it is. And they're showing a ground screw guy trying to catch a pigeon who can't fly anymore. So there you go. Wonderful. Oh, he's flying. He got away. Look at that. There you go. Even the ground screw can't catch a pigeon. Can't catch a ball. Wait, why would Bellinger come to the Yankees? Has nothing to do with Bellinger. The Yankees need a left fielder. The Cubs are going to trade Bellinger. The Yankees need a left fielder. That's why he'll be a Yankee. It has nothing to do with Bellinger come to the Yankees. He don't have a choice in that aspect. The Cubs want a prospect for Bellinger. They didn't sign Bellinger to make the playoffs this year. They signed Bellinger to hope they have a good year so they can trade him at the deadline. Yeah, Dominic, I don't think so. I think we would have heard rumblings and players leaking it to the media. You haven't heard that yet. Like in 2021, you heard leaks that there's been problems in the clubhouse with Stroman and Baez and Lindor at the time and McNeil. It depends. If Bellinger, that's a ground ball, nice play by Freeman, 1 out. He will be a rental, but he's going to test free agency. If he has a good year, what about Anthony Rizzo, Mark? He's a bum. He hasn't hit a home run since May. I don't know if he hit a home run in Colorado. I haven't looked, but he hasn't hit a home run since May. No, Luis Suarez is a joke. Well, I know a lot of Dodger fans can't stand Dave Roberts in the playoffs. He wins in the regular season. He's like Aaron Boone at this point. They win a lot of games during the regular season, and then they forget how to manage in the postseason. Right? Dodger fans wanted, if it wasn't for the 2020 World Series, Dave Roberts might have been fired, to be honest with you.
They don't have as much swing and miss back into that bullpen, but they've got guys down there throwing strikes. Their bullpen, as we've seen tonight, they run this their third pitcher. They're throwing strike throwers out there. But I do believe they're going to be very heavily.
There is no update on Buck. Cohen already came out and said he's not firing Buck and Billy Epler this year. They're safe this year, which they should be. There's no need to fire him. What's the point? Your team is bad. It's not the manager's fault. He is. Look, you can see Rizzo can't carry a team. He is not the Chicago Cubs Rizzo anymore. Right? Judge goes down. Rizzo, remember, Stanton was already on the IL. Judge goes down. Rizzo was the guy that needed to help this team and carry this team until Judge or Stanton comes back. Rizzo hasn't hit a home run since May. He's a power hitter. He's a 200 hitter that hits 35 home runs. If he doesn't hit home runs, he's useless. He's even making errors on the field now. And Lindor strikes out. Why not? The game's over. 2 outs. Boo Birds are out at Citfield. Oh, man, I can't wait to go to the Met game tomorrow. Potential free agents, Urias, Flaherty, Giolito, Ohtani, Severino, Nola, Snell, Rodriguez, Stroman, and Sonny Gray. I wouldn't bring Sonny Gray because he can't pitch in New York. Again, that's not a great list besides Ohtani. And that should end the game, and it is. Mets lose 6-0 to the Dodgers. Offense was absolutely lifeless. Verlander gave you 4 no-hit innings, and they fell apart in the 5th. Dodgers win 6-0 on 7 hits. Mets had 1 hit, and that was Brandon Nimmo in the 1st inning. Mets lose. They go to 7 games under 500. They got to win the next 2 games to have any possible chance of reviving this season. If not, it's going to be very, very bad. Oh, don't worry. I'm one of those fans that have no problem booing. I tell you that. And I probably curse a lot too. So, with that said, guys, the New York Mets lost 6-0 to the Dodgers. Dodgers take game 1 of the 3-game series. Tomorrow, Kodai Senga is on the mound. And we'll see if the Mets can win a ball game and try to have a rubber game on Sunday with Scherzer on the mound. So with that said, the Mets are 42-49. Didn't look good at all coming out of the break. I will see you on Sunday on the Shea Bridge Show tomorrow on Sunday night. I'll do a YouTube short while I'm at Citfield. So everybody have a great night. Mets lose 6-0. As always, Mets fans, let's go Mets. I will see you Sunday night, guys. Have a great night. Tough, guys. Tough. Have a great night, guys.
Meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life because the Mets